The closed-door attorney-client sessions have now concluded, and the board has returned to open session. In the closed-door sessions, we discussed possible settlement negotiations and/or strategy related to litigation expenditures. Before I take a motion to adjourn, let the record reflect that Ms. Branch recused herself in the case of Terrence Hart versus the School Board of Palm Beach County. I'll now take a motion to adjourn the meeting under Florida Statute 286.011. Motion by Ms. Savalletto, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. This meeting is now adjourned under Florida Statute 286.011, and that's now going to bring us into our regular board meeting. So good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now call the regular school board meeting to order at 5 p.m. Mrs. Sinclair, please call the roll.
District 1, Matthew Lane.
Present.
District 2, Virginia Savietto.
Here.
District 3, Karen Burrell.
Here.
District 4, Erica Whitfield.
Here.
District 5, Gloria Branch.
Here.
District 6, Marsha Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Edwin Ferguson.
Here.
Also joining us is Superintendent Michael Burke, General Counsel Sean Bernard, Inspector General Teresa Michael, and Board Clerk Tony Sinclair. Senior staff members will join us periodically as directed by the Superintendent. Tonight, the national anthem will be performed by Kendra Williams, the library media specialist at SD Spady Elementary School. Will everyone please stand for the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Tierney.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Viewers and listeners can access the meeting today by either watching on Comcast channels 234 and 235, UVerse channel 99, or by using the YouTube link on our webpage at palmbeachschools.org. In the event that the link is interrupted for technical reasons, please switch over to the TV channels. All board meetings are recorded in their entirety and posted on the district website within 24 hours. We also offer a listening-only option, which the public can access by calling 561-357-5900 or toll free at 1-866-930-7015. The meeting ID is 1-561-880-1124#. Board members, we do not have any minutes to approve. I am pulling I added 2 items for good cause. Item added LR1, modifications to the collective bargaining agreement with the Service Employees International Union, Florida Public Services Union, that's SEIU, FPSU. Good cause exists for adding this item to support the operational planning for timely implementation in the upcoming fiscal year and demonstrates the board's commitment to fulfilling contractual obligations in a timely manner. Also, I've added P3, personnel addendum. Good cause exists for adding this item so that employees can begin in their new positions as soon as possible. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any items to withdraw?
Yes, I'm withdrawing PIR 1.
Okay, thank you. Board members, we currently have 4 items pulled. We have BRD 1, COS 1, FMP 05, and PC 4. Do any of you have any other items that you wish to pull? Okay, seeing none, I will now take a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Ms. Savallero, second by Ms. Branch. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That brings us to disclosures and abstentions. Does anybody have any? I don't see any. So that's now going to bring us to superintendent and board comments, and we'll start with the superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Well, during the month of May, we wrapped up our graduations for the class of 2025, and it was a very impressive class. We had 79% of the class of 2025 take at least one college-level course. So that includes advanced placement, ACE, international baccalaureate, and dual enrollment. And we're also, if you're on social media, please check out our Senior Spotlight video series. This is a chance to highlight some of the unique talents and accomplishments of our students. And I just want to brag a little bit. Our graduates were accepted into many prestigious institutions, including Yale, Harvard, Princeton, and Florida State University. I also want to thank Mr. Eric Stern, who works, as we all know, Mr. Eric Stern works tirelessly to coordinate all of the graduation ceremonies. He does a masterful job. It is physically demanding and mentally demanding. He's there from before sunrise to late in the evening every night, making sure everything goes flawlessly. So I want to thank him for that. And then he's joined by Sergeant Auger and of School Police, along with Chief Mooney. The whole School Police team does a great job. And then our communications team, led by Mr. Sean Cooley and Miss Amy Johnston. Their team also is there, making sure that it's really nice thing I think we're able to do where we broadcast them and keep them available on YouTube for the families to see. And we know we're having viewers from around the world watch those ceremonies. And I've got a short video that just kind of recaps the class of 2025 ceremonies, and I'll share that with you now.
Time.
It's our most valuable asset.
And over the past 4 years, we invested it.
In ourselves.
In our futures.
In our dreams.
And today, it pays off.
This is the class of 2025.
Ready for the road ahead.
Because we made the best choice.
With our time.
Graduates, you are the future. Cherish this moment. Learn from the past and invest wisely in the time that lies before you.
We aren't just graduates.
We're future doctors,
educators,
engineers,
and service members.
We spent our time wisely.
And it changed everything.
Yale University studying ethics, politics, and economics.
Florida State University studying sports medicine.
University of Florida studying computer science.
Harvard University studying mathematics.
University of Notre Dame studying mechanical engineering.
How will you spend your time?
Will you build?
Will you lead?
Will you serve?
United States Air Force.
The Citadel Military College of South Carolina studying English.
Duke University studying economics.
Florida International University studying medical biology.
Dartmouth College studying computer science.
Princeton University studying neuroscience.
Independent electrical contractor.
Stand tall, be proud, and leave knowing that the best is yet to come.
Continue to take chances and embrace difficulties, because you never know where they might lead.
Things are no longer just happening to us. They're happening because of us.
It's our time to dream,
our time to inspire,
our time to explore.
Our time starts now.
On behalf of the entire school board, congratulations. We are proud of you. We wish you all the best in life.
The school district of Palm Beach County was my best choice.
My best choice.
My best choice.
My best choice.
The school district of Palm Beach County was my best choice.
All right, thanks. I also want to thank the school board. You all attended many, many ceremonies, and I appreciate you suffering through my speech numerous times. But thank you. It was a great time of the year, and we're really proud of that class of 2025. And, we got to get to work bringing in the next class of 2038. So we've been, of course, welcoming our incoming kindergartners, and I just want to share that again. That if parents have not yet registered, please do. You can start that process online. It's very easy, and we'll be quick to send you 2 kindergarten readiness kits, which will help you get ready over the summer so that your kindergartner hits the ground running in August. I'd also, again, like to thank or recognize Mr. Ed Tierney, our Deputy Superintendent, Chief of Schools. We're very proud of Mr. Tierney. He is heading off to be the new superintendent of Monroe County Schools, which is the Florida Keys. And I know he will continue to make us proud down there. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to our new Deputy Superintendent of Chief of Schools, Ms. Jamie Wyatt. With the new school year coming up, part of the process of getting ready is making sure every school has a principal. So we've been busy interviewing, and we've got 3 new principals to introduce to the board tonight and the community at large. So, Ms. Wyatt.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Burke. I am pleased to have the opportunity to introduce 3 new principals. The staff and community at Rolling Green Elementary are looking for a principal to invest in parent and community partnerships, communicate, collaborate with teachers and staff, and have an understanding and passion for the dual language program. And we believe we have found the perfect candidate in Ms. Shaquela Walls.
Good evening. Good evening, Board Chair Brill, Vice Chair Andrews, school board members, and Mr. Burke. I'm incredibly honored and humbled to step into this new role at Rolling Green Elementary. I want to begin by sincerely thanking the school board and Mr. Burke for trusting me with this opportunity. Your confidence means the world, and I'm committed to living up to the responsibility you have entrusted to me. To my mentors, Mr. Jeff Pegg, Dr. Camille Long, Mrs. Jamie Wyatt, and Mrs. Rhonda Smith, thank you for pouring into me your wisdom, encouragement, and belief. Each of you have played a vital part in shaping the educator and leader I strive to be. To the staff, students, and families and wider Boynton Beach school community, I am thrilled to continue on this journey with you. This is more than a job, it's a calling. I believe every child deserves to feel seen, heard, and empowered. Let's work hand in hand to make Rolling Green a place where every student succeeds. Thank you.
Okay, Winbrook Elementary seeks an instructional leader with a vision for sustaining academic excellence and continuing to promote and maintain a positive culture and climate, as well as embrace the school community it serves. And we believe we found the perfect leader in Miss Gina North.
Board Chair Brill, Vice Chair Andrews, school board members, Superintendent Mr. Burke, and Mr. Tierney, and Ms. Wyatt, I am deeply honored to have been selected as the principal of Winbrook Elementary. Thank you for giving me this incredible opportunity. As a proud product of Palm Beach County, having attended public school here from kindergarten through 12th grade, it is meaningful to serve in the district that helped shape who I am. This coming year marks my 29th year as an educator, a meaningful milestone that fills me with gratitude and renews my commitment to inspiring the next generation, supporting our educators, and giving back to the community that gave so much to me. I would like to take a moment to express my heartfelt appreciation to my family. They have stood by me through every personal and professional challenge, always encouraging me to prioritize my career even when it wasn't easy. Their unwavering support and belief in me have been my foundation. From the beginning of my journey, I have been fortunate to have extraordinary mentors. Thank you to Pat Kalp, who gave me my first teaching opportunity, and to Ann Clark, who inspired me to pursue leadership. Working alongside Ann for 13 years profoundly shaped the path that I am on. I also want to recognize Valerie Haynes, who believed in my leadership potential and hired me in my first assistant principal position 14 years ago, and now for my first principalship. Her encouragement and constant motivation. To Anne Marie Dilbert, Thank you for continuing to grow me as a leader during the 9 years that we were together. You've taught me the true value of building strong relationships within our community, advocating for our students in every way possible, and fostering a sense of family within ourselves, with our staff. To our entire Winbrook community, staff, students, and families, thank you for welcoming me so warmly. From the moment I arrived, I felt that I truly belonged. I am grateful for Robin Brown for her guidance and support during the transition. Her efforts ensured I had everything I needed to step confidently into the role. I'm incredibly grateful for all the support I've received throughout my journey. From colleagues and students to family and community members, you've all played a part in making me love what I do. I am thrilled to officially become a Wildcat and look forward to continuing our work together to make Winbrook Elementary the best it can be for every student, every day. Thank you.
And last but not least, Ms. Jamie Evans, the 2024 Assistant Principal of the Year. She has brought consistent leadership experience to the Glades region. She has served as an elementary teacher, a single school coordinator, and most recently an assistant principal. And we believe we have found the perfect candidate in Ms. Jamie Evans.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wyatt, for that beautiful introduction. First and foremost, I would like to thank each and every one of you on the board for providing me with the opportunity to serve as the new principal of Belle Glade Elementary School. I am a product of the Glades region, where greatness is in our DNA. I was born and raised in Belle Glade, Florida. I attended elementary school at Belle Glade Elementary. I also served as a single school culture coordinator at Belle Glade Elementary. So this is really a full circle moment. I am so excited to go inside and lead the work. I would like to take a moment to thank my mentors, the instructional leaders in the Glades region, Mrs. Angela Moore and Dr. Monique McTier. Also, I would like to thank Mrs. Marcia Andrews, our board member. Each and every one of you have poured into me, and you have always supported me, and you have pushed me to reach my maximal potential. And I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I would also like to take a moment to thank a few more mentors. Mrs. Melinda Springman Herrera, who is my coach in the Principals Academy. I appreciate her so much for coaching me one-on-one and helping me to improve my leadership skills. I also would like to thank Dr. Presley. He was my coach in the assistant principals program, and he saw the potential in me, and he would not allow me to give up on myself. So I greatly appreciate him. Mr. James Bokikio, as a math specialist, he was the one to teach me all the math strategies that you see doing so well in all of these schools that I have served. I would also like to thank my AP coach, Miss Jennifer Torrado, for being there for me every step of the way as an assistant principal at Gladeview Elementary School. I am so grateful to have served the best staff in Palm Beach County, and that is Gladeview Elementary School. The staff, the families, my principal, who has taught me so much, Mrs. Chandra Dowers, who worked side by side with me to help me elevate my leadership skills. I have worked with a staff that made my job so easy because they have supported me every step of the way. And I will always have a space in my heart for Gladeview Elementary staff, students, and families. I will be just a phone call away because I am down the street at Belle Glade Elementary School. Last but certainly not least, I would love to thank my family for always listening to me. Every phone call I made, they were there for me to listen, to support me, to make sure I had everything that I needed. My family believes in me wholeheartedly, and that is why you see me here. I have a mother that raised me as a single parent, and she has never given up on me. She has pushed me. She's been hard on me, and I appreciate my mother because she is the reason why you see what you see in front of you. I am an impeccable leader because I had a role model to set the example for me. She taught me integrity. She taught me how to lead. She taught me how to have a heart and a passion for raising student achievement. I would like Gladeview Elementary School to know I will miss them. And Belglade Elementary School, thank you for welcoming me back home. I am a soaring eagle coming from Gladeview Elementary School. And Belglade Elementary School, we're going to continue to soar and do that great work Riviera Walker and Adele Sumner has to put in place. Thank you for accepting me, and I'm ready to do the work.
Thank you all. We look forward to great things. Also, just want to lastly acknowledge we held a celebration last week for our retirees, and we're losing about 485 members of Team Palm Beach to retirement, but they will always be a member of Team Palm Beach, and we want to thank them for their outstanding service over the years. And that may create some openings, so if you're interested in joining Team Palm Beach, please check out our website at palmbeachschools.org/careers. Madam Chair, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. So we're going to begin our board comments, and we will start with Vice Chair Andrews.
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I would like to say a few words before we show my slides. I do have a few to share. First of all, it was so nice to be at the summit on yesterday, to see everyone come together, all of our principals, assistant principal, district leaders, celebrate a successful year we've had here in Palm Beach County School District. It has been great, and to say thank you for everything you do. It's time now for you all to take time to rest and relax and enjoy some you time, taking the time to pamper yourself, because you have done a great job this year with our children. In the district, you know we have those 10-hour days, but you're going to take those 3-day vacations, and you're going to take some extra time too. Take care of yourself, because we do expect for you to be rejuvenated when you return. And today we said goodbye to Ed Tierney, Mr. Tierney. He's sitting in here in front of us now, but you're leaving us, but we send our love to you, Ed. We know you're going to be great in Monroe County. You've done great things for our students. You've helped us to regain the A right here in Palm Beach County, but we know you're going to bring great things to Monroe County. We love you, Mr. Tierney. We're going to miss you sitting right there in that spot, but we know you're going to be taking care of kids, and that's what it's all about. And I want to say a few words about some of the activities that I've been involved in over the last few weeks. The Hispanic Education Coalition Awards. I want to thank Dr. Diaz and the Hispanic Education Coalition. Mr. Otero, the principal at the Dr. Joaquin Garcia High School. We were together with the board members. I think almost every board member was there that night, where we awarded 12 scholarships to students from Palm Beach County School District. They were so excited. They told us about their future. They're going to college. They're excited. And it was just a wonderful time celebrating at our new Dr. Joaquin Garcia High School, but celebrating our beautiful students. And the Wall of Service ceremony at Western Pines. We just celebrated Memorial Day, one of the most touching times that we have to say thank you for those who lost their lives. Western Pines, you do it. The Wall of Honor there means so much to me and all of us here in Palm Beach County, and I was there with you to celebrate. And yes, West Technical Education Center, celebrating all of the adults who graduated. Fred Barch, Dr. Ford, Tri-Cities Education. We were all there to see all of the graduates get their tools and get their diplomas as they graduated from West Tech. And yes, Mr. Burke, I was there with all of the board members to the retirement celebration. It was fun to shake all the hands of the people who are going out to have a great time. I think it's bittersweet for them. They're going to miss the children. They're going to miss all the work they've done with us, but they're going to have a great ball as they move to another level in their lives. And tonight we welcome Pierce Hammock Elementary School. You're out there in the audience somewhere. You are great. You have the school's Odyssey of the Mind team at your school. You just went to Orlando representing the school district of Palm Beach County. You're the only school in Palm Beach County with an Odyssey of the Mind program. You're awesome. I can't wait to shake your hands and tell you congratulations, you're superstars. Everyone, have a great summer as you move through and rest yourselves, and know that we'll be waiting on you rejuvenated in August. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ferguson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few comments for this evening. Firstly, I want to recognize the Solomon Leadership Academy, specifically a young man named Charles Kramer. He's a class of 26 student at Suncoast High School. If you see his photo up on the screen now. He graduated from the Solomon Leadership Program, and the Solomon Leadership Program is a group that has 8 tenets: character, tolerance, communication, vision, empowerment, persistence, strategy, and judgment that they try to espouse to the mentees. And this young man moved me. I have a snippet of his commencement speech, if you will, from last week that I want to share, and it was based on a speech that I gave to the group on perseverance earlier in the school year. So if we can run that really quickly, I'd appreciate it.
Someone who had gone through similar struggles to the ones that I had gone through, such as research papers and college courses and college exams and just the basic struggles of high school, someone to go through that and then achieve so much success after that. And then also, he had some points about how we needed to do everything at 110% and how we needed to try different things in order to find our passions. And that really stuck with me because up until this program, I've been doing things in my comfort zone. I wouldn't do anything that I didn't think I would enjoy or that I didn't think I would succeed at. But his words really spoke to me and they really changed my perspectives.
So this young man is just, again, he's indicative of all the students, and all of them share similar experiences. In fact, I believe I see Mr. Kyle Feeman, Palm Beach Central grad, future Hampton University grad, and hopefully a member of Omega Psi Phi in the audience as well. You see a young sir. You will see the Omega spirit in full effect this evening. But again, if you're interested in joining the Solomon Leadership Program, the incoming class will be roughly 25. Gentlemen, if you could show the flyer, the QR code is there. There's still some openings. I strongly endorse this program. Again, it's just an amazing company and event all around. Also, I want to recognize a gentleman who passed a few weeks ago, Mr. William Wilson. He was a graduate of Roosevelt High School, class of 1960, the best class for this evening. FAMU grad of class of 64, member of the Marching 100 Band, which is unquestionably, historically, the best marching band in this great country of ours. But specific to me, he was the father of a young man named Seneca Wilson who passed away on December 17th of 1992, a friend of mine at Suncoast High School. Mr. Wilson, I remember him being just a loving man. Seneca was also a chip off the old block. He is missed. I think about him often when we are, if you will, doing battle up here. But to Mr. Wilson, I say rest in peace. I hope you're in heaven now with Seneca and your oldest son, Eric. Lastly, I want to take time to address, I know we have a number of people who will be speaking tonight on this issue of DEI. I salute you all for your perseverance. Obviously, DEI is not a pejorative. It is not a synonym for a quota. The whole concept of DEI is a means of optimizing the experience and voice of the greater number of our students here in Palm Beach County and across this country. So I would say this to you all. Be bold, be resilient, be assured that ultimately victory will be yours. And I ask you all to continue to use your voice for the upbuilding of this public education system, not just here in Palm Beach County, but across the state of Florida and across the US of A. So again, Madam Chair, I said I didn't have much to say tonight, and I'm done. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Ms. Branch?
Thank you. I just want to again say congratulations again to Mr. Tierney on your superintendentship in Monroe County. Thank you for all you've done for Palm Beach County. We appreciate you for your dedication to Palm Beach County School District over the last 23 plus years. We will miss you, but we know you'll be doing great things in Monroe County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Branch. Ms. Whitfield.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of topics I wanted to share with you all this evening. First of all, I want to talk about the Media Center redo at Banyan Creek Elementary. We have a couple of pictures that we can put up from that. This is a wonderful event. It's just something that I can't wait to see happen in every single one of our schools. But you can see the children, their smiling faces, the brand new Media Center. It is going to get painted. I was really excited about that when I was in there. I was like, okay, so we're going to do some new paint in here as well. So that's going to happen. It really is an amazing partnership partnership with the Orange Bowl Committee and the College Football Playoff Foundation to contribute to our schools in such an amazing way. So very, very grateful for that. The next slide is some photos from, I was able to be the keynote speaker for Adoptive Families annual meeting this year. As you know, that's one of my favorite organizations here in Palm Beach County that serves our homeless students and families. And so I wanted to bring greetings from the board and really thank them for the work that they are doing. So I wanted to share that with you all, that I was able to do that. The third item is one of my favorites from this time of year. I have to thank Mr. Eric Stern for his work this past graduation season. It is, yeah, please help me congratulate him. It is, I think, one of the hardest jobs in the district to really just keep going for such a sheer number of hours. I know your feet are always swollen, you're always exhausted, but you do it all with a smile on your face, making sure that every student feels recognized and that their moment is really something that they can take home and we can all see in the work that's done. So I just want to thank you so much for that work. I know it's a big ask of your family every year, so please send our thanks to them as well. And then finally, I just really want to continue the torture of Mr. Tierney, because he does not enjoy all this attention. So I figured I'd just bring him up one more time again and say thank you again for all your work here in the school district. And I'm looking forward to hearing all the great things that you do as Superintendent of Monroe County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield. Ms. Savalleto?
I attended the Governor's Hurricane Conference, always so educational to hear from main speakers and expert panels. This year's theme was Enduring Together, Persevering with Purpose, featuring emergency management directors from Florida's West Coast counties impacted by the 3 major 2024 hurricanes. They share valuable lessons learned and challenges faced to better prepare us for the future. I think it would be very beneficial for Mr. Burke to attend next year. People come from all over the United States and abroad. I was glad to be at the Housing Heroes Luncheon hosted by the Housing Leadership Council of Palm Beach County, celebrating the businesses and partners advancing affordable and workforce housing in our community. For over a decade, the council had led efforts to fund projects, conduct critical studies, advocate for policy change, and remove barriers to housing access. Thank you to all the leaders working to ensure safe, stable homes for our workforce and neighbors. Together, we're building a stronger, more equitable future. I was happy to join the ribbon cutting at Westgate Recreation Center for the new Library to Go vending machine. As a member of the Palm Beach County Library Advisory Board, it was exciting to see this free, convenient service bringing books directly into the community. Just a library card is all you need. So Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation joined in, and kids had a great time borrowing books, returning them, enjoying story time in the gym, and meeting Dewey the owl, the library mascot. Big thanks to the library director, Doug Crane, for making this innovative program possible. I had the pleasure of attending last week's Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches breakfast, where CEO Michael Zev shared exciting updates that reflected the momentum and shared purpose building across our community. It was inspiring to be surrounded by so many committed leaders from both the business and nonprofit sectors. As a school board member, I'm especially excited to help bring an education component into the mix, bridging local partnerships and innovation directly into our schools. Grateful to be part of what is ahead. Over the past few weeks, as we spoke before, I had the honor of celebrating students across the district from elementary to high school, dual language to adult education. Each ceremony was a powerful reminder of why we do this work. I joined celebrations at Berkshire, Pine Jog, Liberty Park, Coniston, Okeechobee, and Palm Springs Middle for its first International Spanish Academy graduation. At the high school level, I attended Forest Hill High School and John I. Lerner and Take Stock in Children. I also witnessed the resilience of our adult education graduates. Prove it's never too late to follow your dreams. Thank you to the school bands who brought these amazing moments. Very, very good work. A special thank you to Eric Stern and his team for the incredible coordination of 3 ceremonies a day at the fairgrounds. Your dedication made every moment unforgettable. Thank you, Eric. Last week, I had the joy of attending my son's Luca's 8th grade award ceremony at Palm Springs Middle as he moves on to high school. Luca received 2 honors, I didn't even know, but that was awesome. One for STEM and another for being in the top 5% of the class, and of course I cried. I'm so proud of him. Thank you to his teachers, coaches, and friends who made his 3 years at Palm Springs such a meaningful journey. Huge thanks to my dad and stepmom for their constant support. I couldn't have done it without them. Te amo, papá, gracias por todo tu apoyo. And to all of our incredible educators across the district, enjoy your summer break. You've earned it. Feliz verano. Happy summer. Congratulations to the class of 2025, and wish the best to Mr. Tierney, and congrats to Mrs. Wyatt. And I made it.
Thank you, Ms. Savalletto. You got it all in. Mr. Lane.
I also want to compliment our superintendent, Mike Burke, Eric Stearns, Sergeant Auger, Sean Cooley, and the communications team for the exceptional job they did conducting 33 beautiful graduation ceremonies. They're very meaningful to me, and I know that they meant a lot to the proud families of our graduates. As was said, we also held a retirement ceremony for some of our longest-serving members of our team. The longest-serving teacher had 43 years. The longest-serving administrator had 37 years. The longest-serving staff member had 38 years. The fact that we were able to retain team members for this length of time is a tribute to our superintendent and our leadership team. They truly make the school district of Palm Beach County the best choice for students, families, and our team members. I also attended the Hispanic Education Coalition led by Dr. Carlos Diaz, Mabel Melton, Eduardo Grooveman, and Natalia Powers. They awarded generous scholarships to a number of exceptional students, and I was very privileged to be invited to attend this event. Finally, I visited the Dwight D. Eisenhower School in my district, District 1, which is led by Principal Dr. Debbie Battles and Assistant Principal Maureen Grovesner. DDI is actually 3 schools in one. They have a pre-K program with over 200 students and an elementary school and a middle school. The school also has an environmental choice academy and a technology program where students earn technology badges and industry certifications. They have outdoor hydroponic and indoor hydroponic gardening, an outdoor classroom under a hut that's built by members of the Seminole Indian tribe, and a gopher tortoise preserve. Now this year, DDE implemented the house system to develop student leaders. Each student and staff member is assigned to a house, and this creates a tight-knit environment where students build friendships across grade levels and relationships between students, administrators, and faculty. Now, during my visit, I was inducted into the House of Protos, and I'd like to share a video of my induction with you.
So, come on over, give them a hand. Show what you need to do. Hold it. All right, let's all do our cheer because we won it in our house.
Bears coming through. Bears coming through. Bears coming through.
All right, my photos friends, come over here.
And that ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. So I don't usually repeat anything that's said. All of you know I want to thank all of those that have been mentioned previously, but I can't let this meeting go by without just wishing a world of happiness, much success to our Deputy Superintendent. We'll be watching you. We look forward to seeing you at different meetings, but I wish you from the bottom of my heart all the happiness in the world. You deserve it. And also want to wish everybody a good summer. As Vice Chair Andrews said, take some time out to breathe, to relax, stay inside. It's awfully hot out there, and stay dry, but we hope you have a nice break. So at every regular board meeting, we do remember the employees that we have lost. And so tonight, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence for Jessica Reed, who is a music teacher at Diamond View Elementary School, who passed away on April 14th, 2025. Thank you. So that's going to bring us now to our presentations, and I invite all of the board members to the floor, where Ms. Naka Nolam from the Communications and Engagement Department will join us for the June board recognitions.
Good evening, Chair Brill, Vice Chair Andrews, board members, Superintendent Burke, staff, and community. And this evening we have 4 recognitions on the agenda. We begin with a recognition for Mr. David Law, a PE teacher at Boca Raton Community Middle School and the coach of the school's boys basketball team. During his tenure, he has led the boys basketball team to more than 300 wins. Mr. Law has been an educator in the Palm Beach County School District for 35 years. Not only does he educate his students, he mentors and coaches in addition to being a community leader. His other accomplishments include 1 county boys championship, 8 division boys basketball titles, 1 boys county track championship, 12 division titles for girls track, and he has also coached students who went on to become professional athletes and compete in the Olympics. Congratulations to David Law for leading the boys basketball team at Boca Middle to more than 300 wins. And we also want to acknowledge the principal of Boca Middle, Miss Lisa Lee. Let's give them a round of applause.
Perfect. All right, with the knee, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Stay looking here. More. 1, 2, 3. Big smiles. Thank you. Congrats.
Next, we are recognizing 3 district students who received a Florida prepaid superintendent scholarship. These outstanding students will receive a 2-year Florida college plan, which covers tuition and fees for 60 lower division semester credit hours at any of the 28 Florida public colleges. The scholarship can also be applied to out-of-state public or private colleges around the country. Congratulations to the scholarship recipients, Nergadali Pierre-Louis from Boynton Beach Community High, Jelsi Perez from Palm Beach Gardens Community High, and Nashika Sages from Glades Central Community High. Let's give them all a round of applause. And if the students can please come forward at this time.
Beautiful. All right, look at me. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Hold it, please. Look at me. Big smile. Thank you.
Next, we are recognizing the Pierce Hammock Elementary School Odyssey of the Mind team. They achieved first place at the Palms Odyssey of the Mind regional tournament held in February. They competed against teams from St. Lucie County and Martin County. Odyssey of the Mind competition is a 2-part STEAM program where students are taught skills, then must use them to solve problems and think outside of the box. At the beginning of this school year, the team was given a variety of problems to solve. They selected a problem involving classical literature. The students were responsible for all aspects of the solution, including creating a skit, set and prop construction, costumes, and production. The competition also required that they propose a solution to a spontaneous problem without any prior knowledge of the problem. They successfully offered solutions to both parts of the competition and took first place in the region. They were the only team representing the school district of Palm Beach County. And this program has been offered to students for 2 years at Pierce Hammock Elementary, and both years of competition resulted in regional champions. Congratulations to the Pierce Hammock Elementary School Odyssey of the Mind team for earning first place at the Palms Odyssey of the Mind Regional Tournament. To the students, coaches, and staff, please come forward as I call your name. Congratulations to Clara Al-Hawaik, Michelle Caricio, Bella Haidloff, Aurora McNeary, Charlotte Oland, Maya Paul, and Leah Rizzo. And congratulations as well to the coaches, Cindy Myers, Courtney Peck Nagoon, and Allison Schuink. And we also want to acknowledge Reagan Fitch, Palms Odyssey of the Mind Assistant Regional Director, and Diane Ravelli Schreiber, the principal of the school. Let's give them all a round of applause.
All right. Students in the middle, please. All right. And the teachers, you guys scooch in too. They'll scooch around you. There. It's okay. It's okay. They'll scooch around you. Perfect. There you go. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. Stay there, please. Look at me, please. Big smiles. Thank you. Congratulations.
And finally, this evening, we are recognizing this year's recipients of Palm Beach School Administrators Association scholarships. The scholarship recognizes seniors whose parents are school district administrators. The award is given to students to commend their hard work, dedication, and drive for success, as well as for demonstrating a steady commitment to academic excellence and community involvement. Congratulations to the following students for earning a Palm Beach School Administrators Association scholarship. Please come forward as I call your name, and would everyone please hold your applause until each name has been read. Congratulations to Brielle Brooks from Dreyfus School of the Arts, Garrett Bajinski from Park Vista Community High, Tiffany Davis, Atlantic Community High, Abigail DeLugos, Boca Raton Community High, Isabella Farrell, Wellington Community High, Kyle Feeman, Palm Beach Central High, Corey Folmar, Jupiter Community High, Bodie Hatcher, Seminole Ridge Community High, Jabari Henry, Atlantic Community High, Bryson Hightower, Glade Central Community High, Sydney Jones, Dreyfus School of the Arts, Ava Keevy, Suncoast Community High, Hunter Calazer, Wellington Community High, Nicholas Martinez, Dr. Joaquin Garcia High, Addison Morphesis, Dreyfus School of the Arts, Simon Pierre-Louis, Atlanta Community High, Alana Riddle, Wellington Community High, Alexandra Riddle, also Wellington Community High, Dylan Roche, Suncoast Community High, Jack Sanford, Jupiter Community High, Nina Simone Simmons, Palm Beach Lakes Community High, Bryce Smith, Palm Beach Gardens Community High, Anthony Wojciechowski, Wellington Community High, and Ethan Ziegler, Park Vista Community High. Let's give them all a round of applause.
All right, students, I'm going to have you all stand in the middle, and the board members will stand around you. Scooch, scooch, and all the teachers, perfect. Board Chair Brill, Vice Chair Andrews, board members, Superintendent Burke, staff, and members of the community. This concludes the recognitions for June. Thank you, everyone, for your attention this evening.
Board members, that's going to bring us to our committee reports. Academic Advisory Committee, Laura Feldman, Chair, are you here? Okay, I see you there. Don't worry, don't rush. Come right up.
Good evening, Board Chair Brill, Vice Chair Andrews, school board members, Superintendent Burke, and staff. I am Laura Feldman, speaking to you as Chair of the Academic Advisory Committee. First, I want to congratulate all the recent graduates and wish them more successes and achievements in their future. Congratulations also to their families and all of the school district staff for their support and guidance for the students. I also want to thank the staff for their support of the Academic Advisory Committee and their diligence in helping to corral the volunteer committee members each month so that we can have a quorum and hold our committee meetings. This school year, we met in August, September, December, February, March, and April. We were unable to hold a meeting in October, November, and January since we did not have a quorum. To accommodate graduation ceremonies and end-of-year commitments, we also canceled our May meeting. During our meetings, we discussed and gave input on a variety of topics, including school grades and curricular responses to the data, AI in the classrooms and training for AI-related careers. Discussion included suggestions to expand academic programs to further support students' future careers in AI, advanced coursework and opportunity gaps, the Lastinger and phonics initiatives, legislative and policy updates, graduation rates and progress monitoring, which included discussions and requests for more information regarding the comparison of Title I and non-Title I schools, students with disabilities, performances considering new rulings and enrollment and support in accelerated coursework, data and progression of gifted students, math interventions, both the scheduling issues and solutions which are customized to accommodate each school's schedule, and understanding the root cause for the need of the math interventions, applications used for reading and math supports. The committee members also continue to support the book review process. Our next meeting will be August 18th, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Feldman. Okay, the Audit Committee report is attached to your agendas, and the Construction Oversight Review Committee report is attached to your agendas. District Diversity and Equity Committee, Charmaine Postal, Chair. Come right up. Thank you.
Welcome. Good afternoon, Board Chair, Vice Chair, Board members, Superintendent, staff, and everyone in your respective places. Charmaine Postal, Chair of the DDEC, and I lost my notes. Highlights from the May 15th meeting, which was led by Vice Chair Cassandra Oliver in a hybrid fashion online and here in the boardroom. We are pleased to welcome Ovian Gordine as the new representative for the Palm Beach County Human Rights Council, pending approval today. We heard from Kiwana Howell, Director of Extended Learning Department, who shared updates on after-school and summer programming. The district serves over 20,000 students at 93 elementary sites, including a new site at Saddleview Elementary. Through 17 federal 21st century grants, we're reaching 2,600 students across 38 sites, offering one-to-one laptops, robotics curriculum, new reading and math platforms, a free learning program through Charity for Change. The department is also running 51 summer camps with registration open for a small fee. Those camps are first come, first serve, and highly sought after, so you probably missed it if you haven't signed up. Additionally, the 21st Century Program grants are threatened by federal cuts that would harm access for underserved students. We also heard from Dr. Twala Taylor with Palm Beach County Youth Services, who shared free trauma-informed services for youth and families, including counseling, parenting classes, and autism evaluations. The committee received legislative updates from Mr. Oswald. Some of these updates included new laws restricting cell phone use during school day for K-8 students, and the need to continue to monitor final legislation as the legislative session extended until June or whenever. Mr. Oswald also provided additional academic supports will continue this summer through the Summer Bridge program. Finally, our subcommittee is analyzing FAST assessments, growth data, cross-referencing it with survey and demographic information to identify effective strategies. Congratulations to the class of 2025 and best wishes to Deputy Superintendent Ed Tierney on his new role as superintendent in Monroe County. We also celebrate our very own General Council member who was our representative, Jolanda Morgan, to her promotion as Chief of Staff, and all other leaders rising to continue the mission of the district. Our next meeting is June 12th at 10 a.m. This concludes the report for the DDEC meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Postal. Okay, General Counsel, do you have a report for us tonight?
No report, thank you.
Thank you. And Inspector General, do you have a report for us?
No report.
Okay, thank you very much. That's going to bring us to our speakers who are elected officials and delegates. I'll first start off with Teresa West, Chief Engagement Officer for the Education Foundation.
Good evening, Superintendent Burke, Board Chair Brill, Vice Chair Marsha Andrews, and all school board members and staff. I wanted to share a few exciting things that are happening with the Education Foundation in supporting our teachers and how your continued partnership makes this possible. First, I am thrilled to announce that applications for our Go Teach Classroom grants for the 25-26 school year are officially open. From science labs to literacy corners, special needs, and skills for learning and life programs, these grants ranging from $1,000 to $5,000 bring teacher creativity to life while achieving student learning gains. The deadline for district teachers to apply is August 8th, and we hope every teacher with a great idea submits a proposal for consideration. Our team is conducting free information sessions as well and webinars to support the teachers with their applications. Details can be found on our website at educationfoundationpbc.org. Second, we're proud to highlight the Stepping Up STEM program in Pahokee, a transformative program designed to build a pipeline of computer programming, computer science, robotics courses for 6th through 12th grade students. In collaboration with the Ventus Charitable Foundation and the State of Florida's School District Education Foundation Matching Grant Program, Pahokee is not just stepping up in STEM, they are soaring. Our students are immersed in a rigorous curriculum that not only challenges them, but also propels them to remarkable achievements and prepares them for their futures beyond high school. Among the standout participants are several students earning full ride scholarships to prestigious universities, and one remarkable student who secured an internship with Google. These successes are a true testament to the boundless potential that flourishes when a community rallies together to support its public schools. And for the past 8 years, we have been honored to partner with Pahokee Middle High School, celebrating each victory and each milestone along the way. And lastly, as we look ahead to the new school year, hard to believe, but our team is working hard to prepare for one of our largest efforts, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the Back to School Backpack and School Supply Drive. This year, we will be providing, drumroll please, over 30,000 students with backpacks filled with essential school supplies, serving the needs of students in district-operated Title I schools across the county. We're actively seeking new community partners to help fund it, fill backpacks, and distribute these backpacks as well, whether it's through sponsorships, volunteerism, in-kind support, or hosting a school supply drive. Every act of generosity helps ensure our students walk into school confident and prepared on day one. In closing, thank you for your unwavering support of public education and for your partnership with the Education Foundation. Together, we are building a stronger future for every single student in Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Thank you. Erica Henn, Vice President of Junior Achievement of Palm Beach and Treasure Coast.
Good evening, Chairwoman Brill, Vice Chair Andrews, board members, and Superintendent Burke. My name is Erica Henn. At Junior Achievement of the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast, we equip students from kindergarten to high school with real-world skills in financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. With the support from our local businesses and educators, we've had over 1,500 volunteers, and we're building a stronger community by preparing tomorrow's leaders. For our year-end impact, Junior Achievement proudly served 157,503 students, counted them all, across Palm Beach County this year through dynamic hands-on programming. In 3DE, we had a senior celebration night at Lake Worth High School. Congratulations to Tessa Cattle and Natalie West. Each one of those students were awarded a scholarship from Junior Achievement for their outstanding growth and participation in the 3DE program. Looking at career readiness highlights for the fiscal year of 25, we hosted 19 elementary career fairs. That's a lot of volunteers. Students learned from a wide range of careers from professionals including scientists, NASA, representatives, first responders, and even an ice cream truck owner. We also hosted 7 JA Inspire middle school career exploration events. These included a blend of classroom curriculum and interactive career fairs, which helped students to explore their futures and understand the wide range of possibilities ahead of them. Additionally, we had 15 JA high school career exploration fairs. These were hosted at Palm Beach State College campuses, as well as the local college campuses. Next year, all of the high school career exploration fairs will be held right on campus for our high school students. And we already have 6 schools booked for next year, so you can see we have already been busy with the calendar planning for next year. In the area of fundraising, we had a successful Laugh Your Assets Off event. We hosted this comedy night fundraiser with strong support from the community and Palm Beach County School District. A huge thank you to Ms. Mejias, Ms. Schneider, Dr. Lee, and Dr. Charles for attending and showing their support. Special shout out to School Board member Erica Whitfield for her good humor and participation in Are You Smarter Than an Elected Official challenge. And we are very happy to report that she is in fact much, much smarter than a 5th grader. Thank you, Mrs. Whitfield. We do appreciate you. As far as exciting district partnerships and part of Superintendent Burke's Community Experience Initiative, we are very, very excited to serve all 15,000 middle school students next year for our JA Inspire. This will be held at Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. So we are already in the planning sessions for that, and that's for all of our 8th graders. Also looking ahead, we are just planning all kinds of wonderful events for our students. We are actively recruiting community and business partners to help students explore possibilities and build brighter futures. We are so incredibly grateful for our partnership with the School District of Palm Beach County. We hope that you find some time to rest and relax this summer. We know all of the hard work that you put into what you do for our students. And you know, I have 3 of them included at this district. So thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Sylvia Hall, PTA, PTSA President.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you. I would like to start with stating the mission of the PTA.
Please just state your name.
Sylvia Hall, Palm Beach County PTA President. Sorry about that. I would like to start with stating the mission of the PTA. That is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children, regardless of gender, ethnicity, race, religion, etc., etc. Just a reminder that we are advocate for all the children, not just a few. I would like to mention, we just had this, like a month ago, a few weeks ago, we had our award celebration where we award local units for their work in their schools, and the list will be too long, but I would like to say that our county PTA Principal of the Year was Christine Menschel, is the principal of the Sunrise Park, and the PTSA Principal of the Year was the Eagles Landing Principal, Dominic Pisati. Also, June 30th is the end of our school year. We start July 1st up to June 30th of the following year. So all the local units will be finishing, closing the books, and getting the books ready for audit, and we'll be doing that as well to follow the compliance that we need to do with the IRS. We have a convention coming in June. National PTA convention will be virtual, will be June 25th to June 28th. Coming in July will be our Florida Leadership Convention. It will be held from July 10th to July 13th at Otney Championship in Orlando. The theme this year is Back to Basics, and it's all about amplifying the core of what really means to be a PTA. Some of the seminars and the workshops will be Artificial Intelligence Bootcamp, Leadership Development Institute, President's Academy. This will be a Kid Exploration Zone, and also coaching and council connections. So many of their county PTA and members can get some more experience. One of the things I would like to mention too is that we closing the year, we're going to be planning a board retreat for Palm Beach County so we can plan the calendar for next year. And one of the things we are planning is our first annual meeting, and I would like to invite the Superintendent Burke and all the school board members. When we decide on the date, if you can make it, you will get an invitation for us. Another thing is I would like to say is, if anyone wants to volunteer with PTA or wants, I will tell them to please join PTA, join your local unit. Having a parent, a PTA at your school makes a difference in the school's life, and your children will appreciate that. And if you want to know more about what PTA is all about, please reach out to me. I will be more than happy to go to the school and do a presentation for all the principals and for all the schools at Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Thank you. Mabel Melton, Vice President of the Hispanic Education Coalition. Ms. Melton, are you here? I don't believe you are, so we'll move on to Diedrich Strong, President of the South Palm Beach NAACP.
Good evening. Diedrich Strong, President of the South Palm Beach County NAACP. I'm here tonight to, again, plead with this board to stop your measures of rolling back your DEI policies. You know, I sat in this conference room last week. It was a very contentious meeting. Board member and attorney Ferguson, I applaud you for the way you stood and you fought for the minorities, for the women, for the LGBT plus community. And you met with a lot of opposition from your fellow board members. It bothered me because something as important as DEI should not meet with opposition. And I understand the whole $300 million holdback from the federal government, but that's a red herring. That's a red herring, and I agree with you, Attorney Ferguson. That's not gonna happen. What bothered me about what transpired last week and the actions that you all are looking to take, because you're doing it based on a letter that has been deemed unconstitutional by the federal courts. There's no law behind the letter. And we all know the letter is what prompted this call to roll back these DEI policies. And you can sit there and say that's not the case. But again, I can't find any agenda where there was a discussion of rolling back DEI policies prior to you all receiving that letter in February of this year. I heard a lot of excuses about why you all were voting. I heard things such as, well, the other 67 counties are doing it. Which takes me back to when I was a kid. My mother would say, well, if all your friends were jumping off a bridge, would you do that? Then I heard, and honestly, it's probably one of the most ignorant statements I've heard. That is, well, we don't need to have these things in writing. Attorney Ferguson, when I say ignorant, I know it means you don't know, but that's not why I'm saying it. I'm saying it because I just found the statement to be very stupid and asinine. That's a very dangerous statement, and here's why. When you make a statement like that, it's disrespectful to organizations like ours, who spent years working with the federal government to try to get anti-discrimination legislation passed. It's disrespectful to former members of this board that sat and worked with community stakeholders and organizers to craft the very DEI language that you all are voting to roll back. Yes, this school district has grown. Ms. Andrews and Ms. Branch, it has grown. But there is still a need for equity across the board, for our students, for our teachers, for our vendors, and for any of the independent contractors that try to get jobs through this school district. To sit here and to somehow think that, well, we're just gonna do the right thing anyway. No, you're not, because you haven't in the past. You needed those policies to keep you in line. And if you're going to say that you don't need the DEI policies because you're going to do the right thing, get rid of every single board policy that you have. Because according to you, it doesn't have to be in writing for you to do the right thing.
Thank you. Hazel Lucas, Coalition for Black Student Achievement. I don't know if you heard me, Hazel Lucas, Coalition for Black Student Achievement. Are you here? Oh, there you are. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Hazel Lucas. I was a parent of 3 children who went through the schools in Palm Beach County, 3 elementary, 4 high schools, and 2 middle schools in Palm Beach County. And I was also a school board attorney, handling education and personnel. I can tell you that I was involved in the creation of a lot of those policies and a lot of those procedures, and they were needed. And I'm asking this district to follow up. I speak today on behalf of the Coalition for Black Student Achievement, and at the April 23rd, 2025 school board meeting, the coalition requested that the school board not move forward with making permanent policy changes in response to US DOE's Dear Colleague letter. As a reminder, the letter falsely claimed that Palm Beach County School District is engaging in racial discrimination and threatened to strip $300 million in federal education funds unless the district dismantles DEI. During the April 23rd, 2025 meeting, representatives from our coalition asked that the administration and board not follow through with what is being threatened by DOE, and that you stand strong and not bend the knee to the administration, the federal administration that's requiring or demanding that this district engage in rolling back our DEA. We know that the letter was a generic letter that was sent to school districts all over this country. And we're asking that you also support the MWBE businesses so that more children will have resources and role models to help them to navigate the obstacles they will face as they work to become productive and successful citizens. It's been shown time and time again in this nation's courts that the racist policies being implemented by this country's administration are unconstitutional. Help us to make sure that Palm Beach County falls on the right side of history. Please delay any attempts to dismantle Palm Beach County School District's DEI policies and objectives. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so board members, that's going to bring us to our consent agenda. I'm sorry? I apologize. Apparently we have agenda item speakers and I skipped right over it. That's what happens when I don't wear my glasses. So on behalf of the entire school board, I apologize for skipping over you, but I'd like to welcome any public speakers who are joining us today. Our policy provides that we do not respond to or engage with our speakers. However, we do make note of your issues and we follow up with district administration regarding them. As a reminder, agenda speakers' comments must relate to the subject matter of the agenda item which the speaker has requested to address. Additionally, all non-agenda speakers' comments must relate to educationally relevant topics or the operations of the school district. Pursuant to school board policy, speakers whose comments do not relate to the topic that the speaker indicated or are otherwise educationally relevant as required for non-agenda topics, including any mention of a person's candidacy for elected office, or whose comments disrupt or interfere with the order of the meeting, may be subject to removal from the meeting or having the microphone turned off and forfeiting the right to speak at the remainder of the meeting. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. In accordance with school board policy, the microphone will be turned off when the time limit has been reached. When you speak, please state your name for the record, and thank you for joining us. So we do have 2 agenda item speakers. I'm going to call both names now. We'll start with Donald Pearson, followed by Alcina Falcon.
Good evening, Don Pearson. I'm just finishing my 43rd year in this county. And I'd like to talk about the P1, just a wrap up of what I've been doing this school year. Looking at it, the first meeting, August 21st, I was always questioning, we have separation of employment, 1,993. But that also includes temporary employment, separation of temporary employment. So I separated that. So really, in August, there were 370 that were separated. In September, the September meeting, there were 6,749 separation of employments, again, including the temporary. So I subtracted those, and there were 400 that were separated. And what I've always asked is, it's not real clear how are they happening. So, I looked at, here's where some of our teachers or staff get terminated. Use of discriminatory language, misuse of time, ethical misconduct, inappropriate behavior, failure to exercise best professional judgment. So they've been terminated or suspended, mostly terminated. And there's more egregious things, obviously. So I just want to know the whole year, if you took the separation of employment, including the temporary, there's 16,536. When I subtract that, there are 2,351 separation of employment. Now, we know 485 were retired, so that still leaves a lot of them that were removed for some reason. And what I want, I just want to be more clear. So what I did, which is kind of funny, you have new AI in your, on the district website. So I put this in AI and asked them to ascribe, to separate and give me a summary of this. And what AI said was, there's not enough information to give you that information. It looks like there's separation, but there's not a real reason behind many of them. So again, these reasons, like I said, ethical misconduct, failure to exercise professional judgment, those are real, and people have been terminated for that. And I just want to, these should be a little more clear, which you'll understand later when I talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Alcina Falcon, are you here? Okay, so that's now going to bring us over to our consent agenda. Board members, you know that we have the items that we've pulled. Are there any other items you want pulled? Are you ready to approve it? Take a motion for approval. Motion by Ms. Branch, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor, all opposed, motion carries unanimously. We don't have any unfinished business, so that will bring us to new business. The first item is BRD1, ratification of the membership list of board advisory committees. That's a board item. I recommend the board ratify and approve the appointment of the committee members as shown on the membership list of the board advisory committee as submitted. Motion by Ms. Whitfield, second by Ms. Vice Chair Andrews. I believe that Ms. Branch, you pulled the item?
Yes, I wanted to divide the question regarding BRD1 as in two separate votes, one for technology and one for the District Diversity and Equity Committee.
So you're making a motion to do that?
Yes, I'm making a motion.
Okay, a motion by Ms. Branch, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion, I'm sorry, Mr. Ferguson, you're in favor?
I oppose.
Okay, so we have 6 in favor with Mr. Ferguson in opposition. Okay, so that, now we need a substitute motion, or are we good?
With that motion, we can go in and take them one by one.
Okay, so that's going to bring us now to, I recommend that the board ratify and approve the appointment of the committee members to the Technology Advisory Committee. Motion by Ms. Whitfield, second by Vice Chair Andrews. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the next one is that I recommend the board ratify and approve the appointment of the committee members to the District Diversity and Equity Committee. Motion by Vice Chair Andrews, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries with 6 board members in favor and Ms. Branch opposed. Okay, that will now bring us, Mr. Superintendent, to COM 5.
I recommend the board proclaim June 6, 2025 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Motion by Ms. Branch, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
COM 6, I recommend the board proclaim June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Andrews, second by Ms. Whitfield. Mr. Ferguson, I believe you want to read that proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Proclamation Juneteenth, June 19th, 2025. Whereas on June 19th, 1865, General Gordon Granger and Union Army troops marched to Galveston, Texas to free the last enslaved Black Americans and enforce the Emancipation Proclamation that had been issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863. And whereas enslaved Black people in Texas had remained in brutal bondage, immorally and illegally deprived of their freedom, even though it was 2 years after President Lincoln declared that all enslaved persons shall be free. And whereas Black people who were finally freed from slavery celebrated their long overdue liberation on June 19th, thus beginning a tradition of annual commemoration, and whereas all Americans can learn from our nation's history and participate in the righteous work of ensuring fairness and equality for everyone, allowing us to grow stronger as a country. And whereas we commemorate the centuries of struggle and progress led by abolitionists, educators, civil rights advocates, lawyers, activists, public officials, and ordinary Americans who have worked tirelessly to bring this country closer to fulfilling its promise of liberty and justice for all. And whereas the School District of Palm Beach County acknowledges Juneteenth and its significance as part of the district's efforts to uphold its mission to educate, affirm, and inspire each student in an equity-embedded school system. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the superintendent and school board of Palm Beach County do hereby proclaim Thursday, June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferguson.
Not done.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not done.
Okay.
And urges everyone to honestly confront the nation's past injustices and work together to build a better future for all Americans. Done this 4th day of June, 2025 in West Palm Beach, Florida. And now I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Ms. Branch? Ms. Branch, your button's pressed?
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
That was from last time, I think.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Superintendent?
COS 1, I recommend the board approve the second amendment to the contract between the School Board of Palm Beach County, Florida and Rita Solnit for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027, and authorize the superintendent and board chair to finalize and sign all necessary documents.
Motion by Ms. Whitfield, second by Ms. Savallero. Ms. Branch, you pulled that item?
I did, for a couple of reasons. First, I have a question because on page 2 of the contract, Roman numeral 4, section consultant evaluation, within 30 days of it says, within 30 days of the effective date of this contract, the consultant shall submit to the board a recommended evaluation form, format, and process, including timeframes, and the board and the consultant shall meet to discuss and agree on the recommended form, format, and process. The evaluation form shall provide for written evaluations by the school board as a whole and individual school board members. The evaluation instrument shall include methods of assessing consultants' effectiveness in preserving, protecting, and furthering the school board's legislative positions. Also under section Roman numeral 4, it states, the consultant shall provide the school board a self-appraisal of her accomplishments and attachment of agreed-upon performance objectives and goals, which will be a part of the consultant's evaluation. I haven't received, it says specifically days, other contracts do not, but this one specifically said 30 days. I haven't received any evaluation form. I can't approve this without, so I have questions before I go on.
Mr. Superintendent?
So tonight's item, as noted, is an amendment to the original contract, which was approved in May of 2021. It called for an evaluation to be provided within 30 days. I'm not aware of that ever occurring. I became superintendent a few months later in July of 21. I will say it's somewhat unusual to have a consultant contract that calls for an evaluation directly by the school board. Typically, that type of public evaluation is reserved for the school board's 3 employees, myself, the general counsel, and the inspector general. So I guess I don't have a real good answer here, but I don't believe we've provided that evaluation. If it pleases the board, I could work on coming back later with a subsequent contract amendment maybe that provides some new language to address an evaluation process. So that's
Okay,
my best answer.
it doesn't have to be a public evaluation, but I can't vote on something that specifically says this, and I don't know what she's done, and it's a lot of money. We're talking about budget costs, et cetera. So I'd like to postpone it to a later date, but I'm not sure how that works. Would I need to make a motion or?
Okay, so before you would make a motion, why don't we allow the
Yeah,
other
of
board
course,
members who
yes.
would like to speak, and then if
Absolutely.
you would like to, you can make a motion. So we're going to go to Ms. Savallero.
I've been involved in the community for over 25 years, so I know Ms. Rita Solnit at a business level, and she's done an amazing work and job. She's tasked with the congressional side of lobbying and representing us. I'm very aware of what she does and how she does it, the people that she represents, us, her work in Tallahassee with our committee and members of the community. I feel very confident of her work. Like I said, I've been very involved. This is not my first time around, not my second, but my third. And I've been in politics and government for the past 20-something years. So I can attest to her work and her qualifications. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I can't press my name in there, so I'm going to go on next and just say that my understanding is the consultant is a consultant who works directly with the superintendent and his staff. So us receiving an evaluation, maybe we need to make a change to the contract, but as Mr. Burke said, I don't think it would be appropriate for us to be evaluating an employee of the superintendent. Our direct employees are the superintendent, the inspector general, and general counsel. So those are the employees that we would be doing evaluations for. I can tell you that we are in a very unusual state right now with federal government. And Ms. Solnit has been extremely good at updating us on everything that's happening with the federal government. She's also been available for meetings locally and in Tallahassee. So I think that I think it's money very, very well spent. although, that's, not my decision totally. But I just wanted to say that I feel that we're in a landscape where we need boots on the ground, someone who's knowledgeable, who can take the items and things that are going on and bring them to a level that we all understand. And so with that, I'll call on Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are thousands of contracts that we pass or approve on consent, at least in my 3 years. Definitely hundreds, I believe, thousands at this point. And I would imagine that we don't necessarily have a whole lot of verifiable evidence that these parties are doing, optimizing the school districts and specifically the students' experience. But with Ms. Solnit, I will represent to you that I've seen her at a number of events across the state and country, and she is definitely an asset to us here in Palm Beach County. So I echo everything that you've said, Madam Chair, and also Board Member Savieto. I'm not quite sure how this evaluative language was placed in her contract. As Superintendent Burke said, it's out of our purview. But in any event, Ms. Solnit, in my personal opinion, speaking for myself only, I think she is one of the best, if not the best consultant that we have. She does not have the large group backing her that some of our other consultants have. And I think other consultants do a great job for us as well legislatively, but there's no one who is more effective and more concise in that regard. I think we have some that are as effective and concise, but there's no one who is more effective and concise. So even though she may be small in stature, she's very much mighty in terms of her understanding of the political landscape. And I think, again, she's been a huge benefit. So Ms. Soden, I'm sure you're watching this. Wherever she is, keep up the great work. I understand Board Member Branch's concern, but again, speaking for myself, I think she's done a great job in my limited time on the board, and I hope that you are here for many, many years to come. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. That will bring us to Vice Chair Andrews.
Yes, I would concur with Mr. Ferguson on that one, as well as Ms. Savieto. I just know I was here when Ms. Solnit took over from Vern Crawford, and we have restructured how we actually work through our legislative processes in Tallahassee as well as in Washington, D.C. I'm here to say that I have worked very closely with her at the federal level as well as the state level, and she has done an impeccable job. And I do know that every superintendent, including Superintendent Burke, has relied on Ms. Solnit's ability to bring home the bacon for Palm Beach County as it relates to legislative effects where it comes to funding Palm Beach County. I just know we have in Tallahassee, she is there. Even though we do have a base in Tallahassee, I don't think we could have gotten the funding that we've needed for Palm Beach County School District if we did not have Ms. Solnit on the ground. So she's been on the ground in Tallahassee as well as in Washington, D.C. over and over again. So whatever it needs to structure that contract to make sure that it really works to what the school board wants and the superintendent's supervision of her work needs to be, I think we can do that. But I'm telling you, I've seen both, and we have come a long way under the leadership from our legislative perspectives under these years with Ms. Solnit. And I've been here to see several different options here in Palm Beach County, and we are doing a great job.
Thank you, Ms. Branch.
Thank you. I've also been involved in this community since 1983 and in the political process. During these budget shortfall times of $40+ million that we've been discussing for months now, I cannot approve a 2-year contract for $50,000 per year consultant, so that's $100,000 over 2 years for the following reasons. We need to give a decent raise. We have a $40 million shortfall, and the desire to give decent employee raises along with other expenses, we need to cut in every area that's not a necessity. For $50,000 per year she's paid, all I get is an email here and there telling us exactly what I heard in the news or in the Education Slice emails and the Pineapple Report emails that I receive, and they're all free. And we also have an employee that could do this job. So in these grim budget times, I'm looking at these based on the needs, on helping all our students. Number one, we absolutely need it. Number two, it would be nice to have. And number three, we don't need it. And in this case, during the budget times, I get the exact same information in an email. I've never spoken to her. I have no idea what she's done for the school district. And I don't know if our IG can offer some contract information that specifically says to have a form, to do her evaluation. How does that work with the contract?
Are you discussing about a template for a
well, the contract
consultant?
specifically states to have an evaluation. So is it a breach of contract, or how does it work? Can we postpone the contract so we can get an evaluation, or change the
Ms.
language?
Branch,
or
that should really be general counsel answering your question. So through me.
Oh, sorry.
So through me
Okay.
to general counsel, general counsel will address your question.
Okay. Do you want me to ask it again?
I think I caught the gist of
Okay.
it. So you want to know what are the next steps? Is it a breach? What's on the agenda is an amendment. So the board hasn't taken any action. So there's nothing to breach just yet.
Okay.
If you're talking about the prior contract, again, as I understand it was from 2021. I can't explain to you why it is the way it is, but we're now past that point, and so the only thing I guess at issue is the amendment. And I guess the question I would have, there's one of two ways of approaching it. The superintendent, which I couldn't tell, could either withdraw it and we bring it back at a later time based on the conversation here today and with the correction. The understandings I think have been stated. There could be a substitute motion put in place. So there's a couple of different ways the board could do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that's going to bring us to Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board Member Branch, question to the Chair. Board Member Branch through the Chair. So Board Member Branch made a point about essential areas. So that made me want to follow up.
I'm just asking, is Ms. Branch able to answer him? Because he's going through me to board member.
I have a question for the board member, but.
That's why I'm asking this.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to be compliant with policy 1.03.
And I'm trying to follow it too. That's why I
I
asked.
was not speaking to you on that one,
Yeah.
Madam Chair. I was just speaking out in case anyone is wondering why I did it the way I did it. I was trying to educate any and all. But in any event, question to Board Member Branch through the Chair. I just would like her to identify what she deems to be essential areas of the budget for my own edification, so that when we come to the budget process later, I'll have a better understanding of things where we may be able to find consent. So, Madam Chair, I would like Board Member Branch to articulate expressly what she deems to be essential areas to the budget.
Ms. Branch?
I believe the shortfall and the desire to give raises, we're shortfall of $40+ million, so teacher raises.
Are there any other areas, Madam Chair, that Board Member Branch can articulate?
That's my number one.
Okay.
Are there any other ones?
That's my one and only, number one.
Thank you. Thank
I have
you.
a question to Superintendent Burke through the Chair. Approximately, Superintendent Burke, how many employees do we have? School teachers, actually. School teachers. Approximately.
Nearly 13,000.
13,000. Okay. And so, all right, that's a simple math equation. 100,000 split up amongst 13,000. All right. Thank you. I don't have any additional questions. I've already stated what I said in terms of my support for Ms. Solnit. I respect my board members' Branch's position, but I still believe that Ms. Solnit is a huge asset to this school district. Any modifications to our future contract to remove the part that Superintendent Burke has already stated probably shouldn't be there, I think would be prudent, just so it removes any confusion that any of us as board members may have in our minds. I definitely understand Board Member Branch's position. But I definitely understand Superintendent Burke's position as well, and I support this asset remaining an asset for the betterment of all our children, teachers, administrators, cafeteria workers, everyone, school bus drivers. Ms. Solnit is definitely an asset to this school district, and we'll be lucky to have her for an additional 2 years. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So is there any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? In favor of the motion to renew the contract. All in favor?
So are we renewing it the way it says without doing an evaluation?
There's been no motion to change anything.
So can I make a motion to
Yes,
change
you may.
that language?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so I'm making a motion.
What is your motion? You need to state it for the record. I'm sorry.
My motion is to change the evaluation process and how she's evaluated, taking the school board members out of it if that's not how it's supposed to be. And within 30 days, it says within 30 days, and we've got nothing. So taking the language out, the 30-day language out, within 30 days of the effective date of this contract, and also the consultant shall provide a self-appraisal of her accomplishments and attachment of agreed-upon performance objectives and goals, which will be a part of her evaluation.
So is your motion to to bring back an amended contract with those items being addressed?
Correct.
Okay, motion by Ms. Branch, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Whitfield, you're first.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask if anybody knows how this is addressed in our Capital City Consulting. Do we have an evaluation piece in there as well, in their contract?
They don't have the 30 days.
Mr. Superintendent?
I believe there is a component, but it's different type of language. And I see him, we get some help here from Ms. Patricia Morales.
It doesn't say 30
Deputy
days.
General Counsel. Ms. Morales, thank you. If you could help us out.
Good evening. In the Capital City Consulting contract, there is actually an evaluation instrument that is Exhibit D to that contract. So it is addressed somewhat separately. The evaluation instrument in the original contract contemplated it for 2021. The current addendum just adds 2 years to the contract. So the evaluation issue is really up to the board whether they want to redo it. We can certainly do another contract if that's the desire.
So just so I'm clear, within Capital City, are we receiving evaluations from them as well? Or is that going to Ms. Wyatt? No?
No, I don't.
No.
No, I think, you could almost argue that just the approval of the contract is an evaluation in itself.
Yeah.
Because I know that with both lobbyists, they work pretty closely with the senior staff and the board members. We go to Palm Beach County Days, they're providing reports periodically and providing us access to our representatives. So I'd like the board to consider maybe just deleting the reference to an evaluation.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking that it would be nice if they aligned both contracts. Whatever they say should be the same across the board. But I think that is a great idea to just take it out so that it's not a piece of this. And whatever evaluation that staff is doing to oversee these consultants, they should continue to do.
Okay. Okay. We're going to go to Ms. Andrews.
Yes, we don't really need to throw the baby out with the water and all of this. I mean, really, when we think about this contract, we have to think about our superintendent and our leadership. These are the people that work closely with the superintendent and the leadership team. As a school board, we've actually worked with our consultant, our lobbyists, as well as participating in many activities, but we kind of work together to have them bring the information to us so that we can do what we need to do. So I really don't want us to damage anything here. I've never seen an evaluation from Capital City Consulting, but I do work with them every year through the superintendent and the administration. So whatever we're doing here, we need to keep that because we do have good people actually at a critical time right now when funding is at risk for our children, and we don't want to mess it up. So I really do know that Ms. Solnat has brought the money, the bacon home to Palm Beach County, and whatever we're doing here, I think we need to take some advice from the superintendent, who is the person who will actually be the evaluator of these two people, the Capital City Consulting and Mrs. Solnat. So I would like to refer now to the superintendent through the chair of what he wants so that we can maybe get this right so that we don't create some confusion here when we have great talent already on board.
I think with this type of work, being a legislative liaison, it's hard to quantify or gauge the impact. Like, it would be hard to put it to a scale because we're dealing with maybe stopping legislation that could help, that harm us. This year, our big issue, one of the big issues was getting some flexibility on the school start times that would have come into play for next year. and we were successful. And you don't know who to give credit to, right? We had our own representative, Ann Gerwig, that sponsored the bill. I know our legislative liaisons worked hard to support that, and ultimately, that was really one pieces of good news we got this out of this year's session. So I think it would be kind of challenging to try to create some matrix or rubrics that's going to say, yeah, this legislative liaison was able to do X, Y, and Z. I think it's more the experience that we all have in working with these individuals. So if the board would consider maybe a motion to just strike the requirement for an evaluation, that would be my preference.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. So General Counsel has advised me that if we amend the contract, it would have to come back to us because Ms. Solnit's already a signatory on it. However, what Mr. Burke has suggested is what we really could do is approve the contract as it is right now and then bring it back later with amended language. I do agree with Ms. Whitfield. And I think this comes down to what I've spoken about when we've looked at policies in the past where we get confused between school district and school board. And I think that might have been what happened because we used to always refer to the district as the school board. And so I think there is some confusion in the language. So at this point, we can go through the rest of the comments and then see if Ms. Branch wants to withdraw her amended motion, or if we're going to vote on that and then go back. So I'll move on to Mr. Ferguson.
Madam Chair, my thought was that if anything, there should be an evaluation by the superintendent of the consultant, because how else then will we have a way to make an educated assessment of whether any subsequent contract should be renewed? We have evaluation tools for the IG, for general counsel, and for the superintendent, and they're somewhat ambiguous. Respectfully, I've never seen an actual term to say, for example, in the superintendent's evaluation from 2017, operations management. What does that really mean? It might mean one thing to me, and it might mean something different to the board member from District 6. But in any event, sticking to the issue at hand, I do think that would be helpful in terms of guiding our assessment, respectively, in the future times of any consultants. If our CEO, superintendent, and through his staff can give us some sort of rubric, I believe is what Superintendent Burke used. I think that's what he said, so I'll use it for now. Rubric, evaluative instrument, what have you, so that we know in the future, to Board Member Branch's assessment, our main point of contact believes this is a good consultant or not, and this is why. And then we could say, Superintendent, we agree with you, or Superintendent, I don't agree with you, and I don't think that we should renew. That would be a very helpful tool moving forward. We should run this like a business. Everybody gets assessed in most businesses that I've been involved with, and I think everybody should be assessed in this business as well, because this is a business. Public education. So irrespective of how I feel about Ms. Solnet and how I assess her performance, I'm not the superintendent. And we do rely on the superintendent and his staff to give us some direction in regard to the myriad of consultants that we have. So to the point that Board Member Branch's apprehension in regard to this particular contract based on fiscal responsibility has led us here, I say thank you for bringing us here. And I would like to see us amend this contract so that our staff, through the superintendent, is giving us some evaluation that we can pull in, say, 2 years to say, okay, yeah, we'll renew Ms. Solnet if she chooses to work with the district in 2 years. We'll renew her because our superintendent and his staff believe that she's very effective in these respective metrics. Or you know what, maybe we won't renew her because Superintendent Burke and his staff has apprehension and concerns about her performance over these next 2 years. Let's run it like a business. And Board Member Branch, thank you for getting us to this point.
Okay, Ms. Whitfield.
Thank you. I just want to briefly say, I think this was a very good catch by Ms. Branch, this piece on the self-evaluation that we haven't had. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to amend this contract so that it is appropriate for the status of what we're actually doing. So I'm very glad for that. I also wanted to throw out that Ms. Solnut, I just want to thank you for the work you've been doing. I don't want us not to approve this tonight because I believe that we can't interrupt her work. We have to make sure that she can continue with the work that she's been doing in DC. This is very vital at this time. We need to have representation of this very large school district on a federal level, and local level as well. So I'd very much like the idea of approving the contract tonight, coming back with this amended piece, just to make sure that we are accurate in the representation of our contracts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Branch.
Thank you. I agree with what Board Member Ferguson just said. I also agree with Vice Chair Andrews on the Capital City. I've worked with them. I've spoken to them. I know what they do. I get a whole lot of information. So I have no problem with Capital City. I just wanted to agree with what Vice Chair Andrews says. It's an evaluation as easy as, and most evaluations are done yearly. So this is 2 years. It's an evaluation as easy as how much money have they brought back? Like what, 1, 2, 3, what have they done? So again, most evaluations are done yearly. This happens to be 2, I don't know why. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
So if I understand General Counsel correctly, it sounds like the board could approve this amendment to the contract tonight, and then I could come back with another amendment subsequently that will address this issue of the evaluation. That'll give me some time to work with both the consultant and our chief of staff, and we can bring something back that works. And we can certainly create an evaluation. I was just trying to speak to the reality that the legislative results we get, it's very hard to pinpoint what made the difference, and success has many fathers and failure is an orphan. So it can be challenging, but we can create a tool that is based on responsiveness, communication, that type of thing. It'll be more qualitative metrics than quantitative.
Okay, so that's Ms. Savalletto.
Yeah, I'd like to move forward with, I don't have the number in front of me, but as is. I mean, if you want, we can bring the amendment later, but I make a motion to move it as is, as it was.
Okay, well, we have a motion on the floor, so we're going to get to that in just a moment. Ms. Andrews?
This might be off topic, but if we're going to do what Mr. Burke is asking us to do, I really want us to be doing this for Capital City also, because I have not had that kind of discussion with anybody about Capital City. So if we do amend this and bring it back later, and we've already gone through Capital City, we need to go back and kind of do something with them so we can be on equal footing.
Okay, thank you. So we now have a motion on the floor by Ms. Branch. The motion, if you want us to vote on it, is to do the amendments now, which would mean that there's no contract, that it would have to come back. Do you want us to vote on that amendment, or do you want to withdraw it?
I would want to see the contract before I voted on it, so I would not vote on amending and passing it tonight. So I would vote amending it and bringing it back. That's your
motion. You want us to vote on your motion, and then we'll see how that goes, and we can go back to the original. So there's a motion on the floor by Ms. Branch that would require us to amend the contract, not vote on it tonight, but bring it back. Okay, motion's on the floor, and we've had our second by Ms. Whitfield. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion, Mr. Lane, how did you vote?
Support Ms. Branch.
You're supporting Ms. Branch. So we've got all in favor. We have Ms. Branch and Mr. Lane. All opposed? In opposition, we have Ms. Savalletto, Ms. Whitfield, Vice Chair Andrews, and Mr. Ferguson, and myself. So the motion fails. So that's going to return us now to the original motion, and with the understanding that the superintendent knows what we're looking for. All in favor? Well, we've had our motion. So all in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion, Mr. Lane, you're in favor? Okay, motion passes 6 in favor with Ms. Branch opposed. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes. FMPO 5, I recommend the board approve the award of bid 25-55K for demolition of the pool at Lake Worth High School and racquetball court at Palm Beach Lakes High School in the amount of $417,043.
Okay, motion by Ms. Branch, second by Ms. Whitfield. Mr. Ferguson, I believe you pulled this item?
I pulled this specific to Lake Worth High School and the pool that we have, I guess, put the wheels in the motion in regard to demolition. I know that it hasn't been used in some time, and it's in disrepair. And I know it will be a cost to the district, but I would ask the board and I would ask the district to consider the opportunity cost of not having that pool in terms of the benefits that would inure at minimum to the residents of Lake Worth, particularly on the east side of Lake Worth, which tends to be slightly less affluent than the western area of Lake Worth. Tends to, not as an absolute, but tends to be. And I wanted to know what the board's appetite would be for, I guess, potentially a workshop to kind of, if you will, do a SWOT analysis on the prospects of constructing a new pool at that site. Because I recall in the past meeting, I think maybe last month, board members Whitfield and Savieto spoke about the pool and whether the city might be constructing one, but we really didn't kind of delve into that. So again, I would just want us to, if we approve this bid, I would like us, and I know that it's on topic, I would want to know what we're going to do with the newly made hole on Lake Worth High School's campus, because it was a benefit to so many students and residents in times past, and I would like to see that benefit renewed for use by all residents of Lake Worth and other surrounding neighborhoods who might want to trek down or up to Lake Worth High School to make use of the pool.
So,
that's what I wanted to talk about.
So, Mr. Ferguson, my understanding is you want a point of information that we're going to be voting on this item, but you'd like, as a point of information, to see if the board has an appetite to bring back a workshop, correct?
The point of information, yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So, board members like to see any response from you?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
I'm asking the board members to give some kind of indication of how they feel. Ms. Whitfield?
Thank you. So as we talked about last month, this is something that I've really tried to keep up on in the community. We are at a place where the city of Lake Worth is amending their policies right now to accept unsolicited bids on this item. Because they have received 2 different companies now who are interested in redoing the beach, the golf course, and providing the city with a municipal pool that would be hopefully something that could replace the Lake Worth High School pool and be something much nicer than what we currently have. I believe that vote occurred in May with the city of Lake Worth, and now they are going to be going through a process of I think, they have to do like us, 2 votes. So I think they're going to be at a place where they're going to be accepting some unsolicited bids for this and then processing those. So I'm not against an idea of a workshop. I think a workshop could be appropriate, but I feel like we should probably be waiting quite some time before we have that conversation. Again, the other issue is it is very, very expensive to build a pool. The quote that I got from the most recent pool that's being built at Lake Lytle was $29 million from the county. So this is not a small fee. So I would say a workshop would be great, but I believe it should probably wait at least a year. Because I don't think that we're at a place where we could make any real action that would make any sense right now. That's where I'm at with it.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield. So I will tell you that pool is a hazard as it is. So we do have to demolish it, and there are discussions with the city of Lake Worth Beach over what to do going forward. So I would say I agree with Ms. Whitfield. I think it's premature to have any kind of workshop having to do with it. Let's let the city work with the school district and see where that goes. But tonight we need to vote on the demolition. So we do have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? All opposed? Mr. Ferguson, how did you vote?
I almost never raise my hand, Madam Chair.
Well,
so if you don't raise your hand, then you voting in favor of it. That's how I was always trained.
Okay, so motion carries unanimously. Mr. Superintendent.
Hello, R1. I recommend that the school board approve the modifications to the collective bargaining agreements with the Service Employees International Union / Florida Public Service Union, SEIU, FPSU, pending ratification by SEIU.
Okay, motion very eagerly made by our Vice Chair Andrews, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I recommend the board approve the personnel addendum as amended.
A motion by Vice Chair Andrews, second by Ms. Branch, and that was pulled by nobody. Okay, so all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
PC4. I recommend the board approve the RFP and associated contract with REG Architects, Inc. for design services for Historic Roosevelt Phase 2, existing building renovations, and new building construction, and authorize the superintendent and board chair to finalize and sign all necessary documents.
Motion by Ms. Andrews, second by Ms. Branch. Mr. Ferguson, you pulled that.
I pulled it, Madam Chair, just to give the board an update and the community at large on where things stand with the African American Museum and Research Library. So, REG, I think I said that name correctly. Hope I didn't, and forgive me if I didn't. Yeah, REG Architects, they were appointed to give us a design for the exterior of the Museum and Research Library. One thing that I worked on early in my time here on the board was to kind of move forward with the work that Dr. Robinson had started in regard to seeing this through fruition. Things had kind of gotten stagnant for one reason or another, and I was fortunate enough to get then County Commissioner Mac Bernard on board, and many other parties as well, Mayor Keith James and others. And ultimately, Community Foundation was brought on as basically the point person or point entity for securing an architect and ultimately a general contractor for the actual build out of the museum. We're contributing, I believe, Superintendent Burke, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my head I have $30 million. Is that about right? Or is it 20? I thought it was 30, but.
Well, over both phases. So this one.
This specific phase, too.
Yeah, it's, let me just make sure I get the right number, because I think it's in here.
Yeah, 30 is correct, Mr. Burke.
I thought so.
30, okay, thank you.
Yeah, because I've said it so many times in so many town halls, but in any event, 30 million. So that's not a small amount of money to contribute toward this most worthwhile endeavor. But I wanted you all to know that I'm actually on the board as well on the Community Foundation, and I'm happy to let you all know that we've selected an architect, Bora Bora, is going to be the architect of choice to help design the interior. And I have to tell you, they did a masterclass in terms of presentations. I have yet to be in front of any entity before having a chance to listen to Bora Bora who had the foresight to anticipate questions of a very diverse group and have substantive answers for us, not opposed to the kind of vague and ambiguous things you get from a lot of persons who are seeking contracts. And then you say, what the heck did they just say? They're very concise, very anticipatory, and ultimately, although we had everybody was good in their respective ways, but respectively, at least in my opinion, Bora Bora stood head and shoulders above the rest. So I'm so happy to say that we're going to have, I think, one of the better African American museums and research libraries here in the country, and it will be in no small part to the design that Bora Bora is going to present us. I don't know what it actually is going to be. I did see one that they presented to us during the discussion process, but that will be the ultimate design will ultimately rest in the hands of the community largely. So persons who are interested in having a say in that, please be on the lookout. We're going to have charrettes here over the next 12 months that we invite you all to participate in. But again, I pulled it just so I could converse with you all and update you all on some things. A very important thing that's happens to be happening within District 7. And again, we don't mention her name very much, but I want to thank Dr. Robinson for picking up the baton to even get us to where we are right now, because without you and many other people in the district advocating for this, this would not be a reality. So thank you and all the others as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Ms. Andrews, we are now time certain for non-agenda item speakers, so if you will forego speaking, we can vote. Otherwise, we have to postpone the vote. I'm sorry? Okay, so all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That's now going to bring us to our non-agenda speakers. I just want to let the speakers know that our policy calls for 30 minutes for you to speak. Then we're going to pause, go back to our business part of the meeting, and finish up with the remainder of the speakers. With the time, 30 minutes, we're probably only going to get halfway through all of you. So I just want you to know that we will get to everybody. I'll start reading 2 names at a time. And hopefully I don't mispronounce any. Carl Muhammad, and then Officer Adolf. Go
Muhammad.
ahead and state your name.
Carl Muhammad. I wanted to say that as we prepare ourselves in our community, I'm speaking as one of the children of the slaves of America. And you know that we had a state law that was passed in order to give us some guidance as it relates to trying to retrieve the knowledge that had been kept away from us through the educational process. And as we prepare ourselves for the summer, we haven't heard from you as of yet as it relates to the positioning of Brian Knowles with his removal, and we haven't heard any information as it relates to the data as it talks about how much money has been spent to try to fulfill the Florida Statute 1003.42H, and where are we located as it relates to that kind of data, because we haven't heard a word from any one of you. But then we also understand in the community that we have a resource problem, and that was the reason why when we met with different board members, we was asking you if possibly we could probably get some of the black people that have some wealth inside of Palm Beach County to start putting together some resources so that we don't have to come to you and ask you to do what is necessary for us to do in our community. And I'm hoping that as we talk, our community is maturing to understand that there's a tremendous need for them to invest in their own children. And as we move forward, you know, during this month, we celebrate Juneteenth and we celebrate Father's Day. And I'm hoping that the fathers that are listening to, right now, you would take an interest in trying to attach yourself to what is taking place inside of Palm Beach County. And as a result of having conversation with the board members, we understand that many of you didn't know who Carter G. Woodson was, and we've all been celebrating Black History Month throughout the years, but we never knew who fostered that. And when we go through his memoirs and the reason and the purpose for him establishing Black History Day, we understand the direction that is necessary for our community. So we are starting a book club, the Carter G. Woodson Book Club, and we're hoping that many of you would come and enroll yourself in such a class, because we can give you some quantitative knowledge as it relates to how to deal with our children inside of your system. And before we leave, you know, during Juneteenth, we always do libations. And I wanted to call out a couple of names who's been very essential here in Palm Beach County: Alcee Hastings, Maud Ford Lee, Mandy Dawson White, and these were the people that helped us to establish a relationship with the school district. I know that we need a new contract with the community, so I'm hoping that as you do your research and everything, that you would come back and we would have some kind of real community meeting where we can reinvent what we've already achieved, and I'm hoping that we would take the time to look at it. And happy Juneteenth and happy Father's Day here in Palm Beach County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Officer Adolph and then Donald Pearson. Okay, I see Mr. Pearson coming up. After Mr. Pearson, it's going to be Roseanne Brown.
Good evening, Don Pearson, Palm Beach Central High School. I watched the last week's board meeting, and I just want to, you know, with the district lacking a state budget and the high schools absorbing half of that, which is around 20 million, my question is going to be about OJT. Since we're talking about, as a matter of fact, Mr. Lane, you spoke to the legislators about talking about the add-on FTE. And since OJT is an FTE, brings in FTE funds, you know, like Ms. Andrews said, it's not a good time to play around with any money. Why would we take that off the table? Even though it's a dagger in 2 years, where my school is the only school that's taken it off the table, and it's not because of any other reason except targeted at me and the kids are collateral damage. So we're taking money off the table, especially in a budget crunch. And they plan to replace it with executive internship, where there's no class and there's no accountability and no FTE funds. Now that's okay until someone's not checking to see if those students are working, and not to be morbid, but until someone drowns at the beach when they should have been working, but no one checked on them. I've checked on I'm one of those teachers, and a lot do that. They check to make sure their students are working, and this year I've had 4 of them that were fired and didn't tell me, and they won't until you check on them. Well, what if you don't check on them in a month and something happens? Then we have a problem. Anyway, the other thing I want to talk about is policy 3.14, and the policy was established in 2010, and it's for procedures on reporting if there's abuse or harassment, things like that. And the board has been good. When I sent you that stuff, you're checking on that, but there's been nothing's been resolved yet, and I'm still working on that. And the reason I'm saying that is I've worked for 16 principals in my 43 years. 5 of them have been at Palm Beach Central. And because of the attack on me, which I will give you like I did before, not an email, so we don't have to worry about that, I just want you to look at that. We're hurting kids if we get rid of that program. Thank you.
Thank you. Roseanne Brown, followed by Karen Matroni. Please come up. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. I'm a cisgender white woman. I live in the suburbs of Boca Raton.
Please
so my name is Karen, of course. My name is Karen Matroni.
Thank you.
There you go. All right. So I come here today imploring you not to get rid of DEI in our school system. Did you happen to know that DEI provides opportunities to Black people, people of color, LGBTQ people, and women? Did you happen to know that? Because getting rid of DEI gets rid of all of these policies and these procedures in place to help these communities. Did you happen to know that the majority of your teachers and your staff are not straight white men? Because that's who DEI helps. It's not the straight white man. It's the people that don't look like him. We need those people in our schools. As Florida is dead last in our teacher pay, why are you making it harder to recruit teachers by eliminating DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusion work. They reflect the diversity of our student population, and those inclusive policies help that our Palm Beach County School Board contracts go fairly and equitably around and aren't just reserved for those who have special relationships. In addition, when you support DEI and those policies, you are supporting your teachers and your staff who don't look like straight white men. You are supporting them by telling them, we stand with you. Political pressure should not be the reason to eliminate DEI. DEI policies have proven to lead to stronger academic outcomes and healthier school communities. I hope you know, and I know you know because it's been said here many times before tonight, that these policies, this letter that you got from DOE has been challenged and found lacking in court. There is no legal standing for it. Do not comply. Do not bend the knee until they make you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Charles Ridley, followed by Deborah Walker. Are either of you here? Okay, Mr. Ridley, come right up.
My name is Chuck Ridley. I am the chair of Unify Palm Beach County. I wrote a speech. I'm not going to follow that script. What prompts me here tonight from being here last week is 2 things. So if this was only about eliminating DEI, I would have a problem there. But it's not. This is about a letter that makes the false premise that white men primarily and community are being discriminated against because there are DEI policies. There is nothing more ludicrous than that statement. And what troubles me is that you know it. You know this is a false premise. Second part that I want to share with you is I do recognize that you are being extorted by a letter from an administration that feels that it's appropriate to abuse their executive rights. You know that. And I get the concern about the $300 million that can be taken away. No one has fought harder for the children and families that benefit from that than I. I'm in this district. But what you're asking me to believe is the same administration that would extort you, even if you comply, will not find a way to come and take the same resources and more away. These are not I'm trying to filter my words, and I'm trying to do it in 30 seconds. Board, stand with this community. Allow us to show you how to fight. We are not afraid of what is coming down. Some of you say you are not afraid either, but I don't think you know how to fight. Because if you do, you would understand the importance of standing now against this very policy. Because if you don't, we're abandoning the children that.
Thank you. If Deborah Walker is here, come on up, followed by Eric Vandernale.
Hi, I'm Deborah Walker. And before I start, I want to give a shout out to General Counsel Bernard. I see she has a CAU lanyard around her neck. We went to the same university. Yay, Clark Atlanta University. I am Deborah Walker. I am the daughter of a school teacher of 30 years in Palm Beach County, Lucille Davis Bain. I ask to speak this afternoon because I can no longer control my exasperation. I am here to express my frustration with this school board because the decisions emanating from this body will have a direct impact on people I love and care about. Besides, you are visible to me, unlike what's happening in Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. I can directly confront you with my concerns while being consumed by the overwhelming sense that the country is going off the deep end, one government program at a time. Perhaps you don't realize, but just look around at the people in this room and outside. They aren't buying what you're selling. We've been down this same path before with other issues, but what brings me and others here today goes beyond any expectation of being silenced. Food is essential to life itself, and particularly to the growing bodies of the young. We're talking about healthy, balanced hot meals, whether it's breakfast at Head Start or cafeterias of K1 through 12. We expect to take some hit somewhere if the Secretary of Education follows the playbook laid out for her. What about those kids with disabilities from poor families who have no alternative to the care they are currently receiving? The cuts to Medicaid show a callous disregard for those that already struggle against the odds. My fellow community members and I know that the recommendations are not yet set in stone. Why must this school board lie down and accept the intimidation, fear, and outright repression, these last-minute efforts of Tallahassee to get on board with the crippling effects of America eating its young spewing out of Washington, D.C. Y'all need to understand that this generation has enjoyed what is now threatened to be taken away, and that is none other than a thorough understanding of our history. We will not stand by and let the hard-won gains of DEI vanish from our textbooks or our corporate boardrooms. We have not come this far without the inherent understanding that we had to fight to get to where we are. And we know we'll have to fight.
Thank you very much. So Eric Vandernail, followed by Ray Whiteley.
Good evening, I'm Eric Vandernail. First, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Pride Month and a meaningful Juneteenth. I'm here once again to speak out against the removal of rewriting of policies that include the essential principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I truly believe that most of you care about creating opportunities for minority groups and women in both education and business. So I have to ask, why are we spending time and energy trying to erase or dilute that mission? You say, your last meeting I heard you say you simply following the law with policies, but you're not breaking any laws by resisting these demands. In fact, you have legal precedent and the courts are on your side. Across the country, courts are pushing back against unconstitutional overreach. This administration may ignore the Constitution, but we shouldn't. As I review tonight's agenda, I was reminded of your mission statement, which reads, "The mission of the school district of Palm Beach County is to educate, affirm, and inspire each student in an equity-embedded school system." Should I ask, will you be rewording that too? Words matter, and I reject the idea that saying or supporting these words is somehow wrong. Diversity, equity, inclusion, equality, and even neurodiversity. I'm proud of my gay family and our resilience. I'm proud of my son. I care about equity for minority communities, and I care about equality for the LGBTQ+ community. And yes, I'm proud to be woke, because to me it means I have empathy. I believe we will get through this dark time of history because democracy is stronger than fascism. And I urge you to be on the right side of that history. Reject the false narrative that DEI policies are harmful. They are not only good for schools, they're good for business, for government, and for the kind of future we all want our children to have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. So Ray Whiteley, followed by Alfred Fields.
Good evening. My name is Ray Whiteley, and I represent a growing coalition of committed, praying faith leaders across Palm Beach County. And as my wife, she corrected me last time, and she reminded me that we don't have 10 grandchildren. We have 13 grandchildren that is in Palm Beach County school system. So I have to make that correction. Last time I joined urging you to reconsider your vote on the so-called Dear Colleague letter. Today I come not to rebuke, but to reflect on the implications of this decision. We understand that you face an impossible dilemma. The threat of losing $300 million is challenging. However, this challenge transcends a mere policy debate. It represents a spiritual crisis and a moral test. Your decision, possibly rooted in fear, has significant consequences for the children that we serve. We cannot allow federal threats to drive us into moral retreat or to erase the experiences of those who fought hard to be recognized and heard, all for political survival. Today, I affirm that the Black church will not back down. In the face of fear, we choose faith. In the face of pressure, we choose spiritual rebellion. What's happening in Palm Beach County is about more than just a board vote. It's about whether we will uplift our belief in justice, even when the cost is steep. We have launched a resistance campaign rooted not in partisanship, but in principle, guided by 4 pillars: legal action, strategic communication, community mobilization, and steadfast commitment to moral integrity. We stand on the shoulders of faith warriors before us, those who preach, prayed, and protested. We will not stand idly by while injustice is disguised as compliance, not when our children's future are at stake. As it is written in Micah 6, verse 8, what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly before your God? That is exactly what we intend to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Alfred Fields, followed by Reverend Dr. J.R. Thicklin.
Good evening. Alfred Fields, president of the West Palm Beach NAACP. Good evening to the board, and I want to first stop and say thank you. Thank you for your service. I want to let you know we're all on the same team. We're working for our children. So we stand with you. But I want to say we have differences. All of us have different ideas and different issues. That's what makes us diverse. And so we're here talking about diverse policies that are about to be wiped out, that were put in place so that we will learn how to love just a little bit better, so that we will learn how to get along just a little bit better, so that we will learn how to share the pie just a little bit better. So I'm standing before you to say, don't take away the work that was done by your predecessors who were just as astute as you are. What they put in place was just for someone that's being a bully. They put policies in place so that we don't accidentally get a bully to try to change our diversity, to try to take away the love that we've developed for each other. And last week when we were here, you spoke about how we've grown as a district and a school board. And a lot of that growth is because of the policies that were put in place to force us to walk hand in hand. Those policies were put in place to direct us. And so you are the policymakers. As I stated last time I was here, you are the policymakers. We cannot allow bullies, and this school district has a policy on bullying. And if you haven't read that policy, I would urge you to go back and review it, because you're setting examples for our very own young people about the policies. Bullies should not be allowed to continue to bully. Stick with the policies. Don't give in to bullying. We're here to work with you. Again, the NAACP is here to work with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So Reverend Dr. J.R. Thicklin, followed by, and I hope I have this name right, I'm having difficulty reading it, but I believe it's Jamonte Brown. So if either of you were here. For Jamonte Brown, the comments, in case I'm messing up this name totally, it says that you want to discuss Riviera Beach students. So, okay, so you can come right up. I apologize for not being able to read.
Alrighty. Good evening, board members and Mr. Superintendent. My name is Sammy Brown. I proudly serve as the Chief of Staff to the Riviera Beach City Council Chairperson, Shirley D. Lanier. She would be here tonight, but instead we had a closed executive session, so she was not able to be here. I'm here this evening to share some exciting developments taking place in the city of Riviera Beach that strongly align with the school district of Palm Beach County's educational mission. Most recently, the Riviera Beach City Council voted unanimously to reestablish the Riviera Beach Education Advisory Board and committed $200,000 in funding for the academic instruction during the summer. These funds are also designated to support local educational service providers and summer camps through a grant solicitation opportunities that focus on learning enhancement. A major part of this effort includes the launch of the READ program, an initiative focused on increasing literacy and academic engagement spearheaded by the council chairperson Lanier and approved by the full council. Riviera Beach is distinct in the fact that it is represented by two board members, Mr. Edwin Ferguson and Mr. Matthew Lane. As a former city council member, I'm sure Mr. Lane understands the nuances and challenges that municipalities like Riviera Beach face, particularly when it comes to supporting youth development outside of the classroom and community-based resources and wraparound services that often are necessary to close learning gaps in communities where opportunities have historically been limited. We are looking forward to the future construction of a new Riviera Beach High School for the Riviera Beach community. This long-awaited project will not only provide a modern state-of-the-art learning environment for our students, but will also help restore a sense of community pride and identity through the return of a true home school. For too long, students in Riviera Beach have been bused outside of the city for high school education. A dedicated community school in our backyard is more than just a building. It's a symbol of investment, belief, and hope in our youth and our future. That said, I want to be clear that not everything is about funding. While the financial investments made by the city are a significant step, what we're really advocating for is a seat at the table. We want to open the floor for conversation, for collaboration, and for consistent dialogue around how we can work together strategically and intentionally to improve support systems for children in communities like Riviera Beach. Sometimes the biggest impacts comes from not from a dollar amount, but from listening, sharing, and working side by side towards a common goal. Following tonight's meeting, I will be sending additional information to each of you, the board members and district administration, regarding the READ program instituted and other potential partnership opportunities the city is exploring to further support our growth and equity. And I'd like to thank school board member Edwin Ferguson and Area Superintendent Dr. Camille Coleman.
Thank you very much. David Rodriguez. And after Mr. Rodriguez, we'll return to our agenda per our policy. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. I want to say thank you to the Superintendent, Madam Chair, and members of the board. My name is David Rodriguez, and I'm here once again to voice my opposition to the recent emergency vote on eliminating hiring practices and other policies that promote inclusion and equal opportunities to women and minority-owned businesses, as well as professionals working in this district. These policies have helped the district recruit a professional workforce that is reflective of the students that they serve. These policies have fostered a culture of respect, of acceptance, and making employees and students feel valued and included. These policies have created more equitable opportunities for local businesses and have ensured a wide range of diverse voices are included in important decision-making. The community has been showing up for weeks now, urging you to reverse to not reverse all of this progress. Having our professionals reflect a diverse community of students in Palm Beach County goes a very long way in making sure that students feel seen, heard, and supported in the classroom. As a former educator in Florida, I know that when students feel like they belong, they thrive academically and personally into their full potential. I know I don't need to remind anyone here, but I must again state it for the record that Palm Beach County is one of the most diverse counties in Florida. By removing these policies that promote fairness and equity in contracting businesses for the district, we are reducing opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses to compete for bids on a level playing field. These policies support the wider community of Palm Beach County by ensuring people from all backgrounds have an equal opportunity to partake in serving the school district and building prosperity in the most marginalized parts of our community. It's frustrating for this community to see a board that is usually so proactive in doing the right thing for all members of the community suddenly shrugging off policies protecting equity in our schools. We appreciate you holding the line in other spaces, for example, the policies relating to bullying and the student handbook, but we need you to continue to hold that line and ensure that that energy is brought into other spaces, like what we've been talking about here tonight. We understand the enormous amount of pressure you are all under in facing such politically charged threats from the federal government. We know that it isn't an easy position to be in, dealing with a bully of such magnitude. But it is in these difficult moments where decision makers like you have the powerful opportunity to stand tall and defend the community against political bullying. The courts have ruled against this policy enforcement threats that this school board is responding to, and like Mr. Ferguson said last week, you can't be afraid to do what's right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's going to bring us, board members, back to our agenda. It's going to bring us to our board discussion items. The first one, BD1, is my discussion item on the cork policy, number 1.093. And this is pretty simple. Board members, we appoint 14 members, 2 each, to the cork committee. And historically, we've had long periods of time where we've had vacancies because it's so prescriptive, our policy. So all I wanted to do was see if you would all agree for us to have the superintendent, when he brings back the next set of policies for us, to bring back suggestions on how we can massage some of the categories so that it's not so impossible. We shouldn't have any policies where we have vacancies for a long period of time because of the policy. So it's pretty easy. I'm not asking. Right now we have a full deck. We've got everybody in place. It's just that, you know, I need to ask whether you agree that we should bring it back and let General Counsel make some recommendations on how we can massage this policy that's been there for a while. So is everybody in agreement in bringing that back? I see a nodding of the head. So, Mr. Superintendent, when you bring back policies, no urgencies, the seats are filled. Next time you bring it back, I know the General Counsel already has given some thought to it. So the next one is BRD 3, Mr. Ferguson, metal detectors.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Metal detectors, this was something that I was, shall we say, pretty adamant about in my first couple of months on the board. And ultimately, the district and the board came around to the fact that there is a need for metal detectors. My understanding was that we would be doing it in a layered approach, starting in high school, then middle school, and then elementary school. But then I went back and watched all the board meetings in which we spoke about metal detectors, and at the board meetings at least, we never actually said we were going to put them in all high schools, then middle schools, and then elementary schools. But I'll represent, particularly to the new board members, that there was a conversation and representation that we would start in high school, then go to middle school, and then go to elementary school. In fact, I reached out to former Chair Barbieri and essentially had a conversation with him saying, am I missing something? Am I forgetting something? And he said, no, we definitely had that conversation, that was a representation at some point that we would do it at all 3 levels. There was a conversation, I guess, at a past meeting in regard to the number of detectors that we would need, people power, and things of that nature. So you all saw the request that I submitted to staff to get an understanding as to the average high school population here in Palm Beach County. And the email that was sent to all of us indicated that the average high school has 2,083 students. I'll also represent to you all that the largest elementary school, which is not actually an elementary school, it's a K-8, it's known as Verde, V-E-R-D-E. It has 1,357 students. And I'll also represent to you all that the largest middle school, Eagles Landing, has 1,457. I say that to say we have the people power at these middle schools and these elementary schools to install these metal detectors. And also, you all know, because I'm pretty confident that you all read your emails, definitely at a greater extent than I, that we only average about 3 detectors per school. I say that because there was a statement that we may be using more than that number at our schools, but we know that all schools use the 3 metal detectors. What we haven't seen since the installation of metal detectors at our high school, what we haven't seen are guns in any of our high schools. And if you all, this is for the members who were here when I was the junior member, I represented to you all a situation that was very troubling to me, where there was a youth, I believe it was Palm Beach Gardens High School, exited the bus, and 3 young men were waiting for him with guns. They shot at him. That's terrible, and that really made me nervous hearing this story. The problem was the young man then pulled his own gun out and shot back at them. And so it doesn't take one to extrapolate how that could have gone horribly wrong in terms of some other incident happening on that campus, which is why we need to have this deterrent. I'm not representing to you that metal detectors will eliminate all threats related to firearms. I mean, we just had a situation at Wellington High School, not a firearm, but things that would go into a firearm, and I'll just leave it there. And I'm sure staff is working on how to close that loophole moving forward. But what we also have seen since the implementation district-wide at the high school level is a handgun at JFK Middle School. It didn't have bullets, but it could have. And most recently at Panther Run, we saw a child, apparently unknowingly, bring a loaded handgun onto the campus and self-reported it. But what happens if that child decided not to self-report it and just wanted to show and tell to some friends, and then the gun goes off? Or, I've said to you before, and I'll say it again, thoughts and prayers just won't do it. If something like that should happen and someone is shot, maimed, and or killed, it would be inexcusable. We have the means to implement these metal detectors at our middle schools. We have the means to implement these metal detecting devices at our elementary schools. And I think that we are skirting our responsibility to make our schools as safe as we reasonably can by delaying implementing these detectors at our middle school and our elementary schools. So again, we don't have to speculate as to whether they work. We know they do. Again, I have not heard of one gun at a high school since we implemented it district-wide. And on the other side of it, we've seen firearms at middle school and elementary, and I said that to you all before. Don't just fixate on high school. Evil can come at any school at any time, and apparently can be brought in by any person, whether adult or a child. So I think the prudent thing at this point is for us to revisit this conversation or this issue. And Madam Chair, I'd like to ask a question of General Counsel. I would like to direct the superintendent to, as soon as possible, implement a plan for the installation of metal detectors at our middle school and elementary. What would be the appropriate way for me to make such a request? Did I just do it, or is there a more effective way to do that?
You actually can't direct the superintendent to do that. You can, as during this discussion item, you can, with the consensus of your colleagues, you can ask for more information to be brought to you. You can request that the superintendent bring back a workshop, but those are the limitations for which you can seek additional action on the part of the superintendent.
Well, we My recollection is that we directed the superintendent to install metal detectors devices at our high schools. So tell me how this is substantively different than that. Because it was only by way of, frankly, this board member's advocacy for it that we got the metal detectors at the high school. So tell me, as you recall, what mechanism ultimately led to that coming about, other than a consensus. And now we know, at least as we define consensus pursuant to 1.03, it just meant 4 of the 7 or more thought this was something that needed to be implemented. So help me with that.
Sure. My recollection of how that came about was there was discussion. The board, through its discussion, represented what it would like to see, and the superintendent proposed or brought forward a recommendation that we start with a pilot program, if I remember correctly. So it's through the superintendent bringing it to the board by way of recommendation. That's how we get there. But discussion and the superintendent hearing what the pleasure of the board is typically what gets the superintendent potentially to a place where he brings a recommendation to the board.
So I probably, implicit in me saying what I like means that I'm hoping that 3 other board members agree with me. I understand that the superintendent does not follow any directive simply from the board member from District 7. So I apologize for not being more precise with my language, my verbiage. Having said all that, board members, and I've kind of laid out, I think accurately, what has happened since 2022 and where we currently stand, I would like to have a conversation with you all as a board to find out if at least 3 of you are in favor of us giving a directive to the superintendent to implement these metal detection devices at our middle schools and at our elementary schools. And thank you, Madam Chair and General Counsel, for the conversation.
Thank you, Vice Chair Andrews.
And Mr. Ferguson, I do want to say thank you for talking about the metal detectors, but I've always been an advocate for metal detectors. In fact, the Tri-Cities area of the Glades had spoken with not just this superintendent, but several superintendents prior about metal detectors, and there were different thoughts about it, and we finally got to that point. But I'm sitting here listening to you, and I just know we had a closed-door workshop with our chief of police and went through a lot of issues as it related to metal detectors, how we could do it, how much they would cost, and we actually worked through the chair and the superintendent for us to get some additional information, because the metal detectors are advancing because they can do different things at different times. So I just believe it's probably a time for the superintendent through the chief working together with us to have maybe another conversation with the budgetary issues that we're in right now. Do we have the money to do it? And also what's out there that's going to be effective, because we are the 10th largest school district, and yes, all over the country, many of the school districts have the metal detectors, but they're looking at different ways on how they can save money and also save lives. So I do believe our superintendent is really updated on that, just from the Council of Great City Schools and working with superintendents from across the state and nation. So I just really believe that we need to work closely with the superintendent and the chief and maybe have another discussion about, we know we need them. We need them at every level, that's for sure. Do you have the money? What's out there now, and how can it happen? I mean, it takes a lot, not just the manpower, but it takes a whole lot of elements to be able to be effective. And luckily, we took our times before we did the high schools. I mean, it was something that was out there before your time, but we finally got there. And I'm so pleased that we haven't seen any guns on our campus, but we really need to kind of work through a collaborative process with the leaders who know what's out there through our superintendent and chief, in a closed-door session, and looking at our budget and being realistic as to what we can and can do, what we can and cannot do at this point in time, based on availability and everything else.
Thank you. General Counsel?
Yes, I just want to make sure that my clarification to your question, Mr. Ferguson, is because the way you summed it up to the board, you indicated that there can be a consensus to direct the superintendent. I just want to make sure that we're clear that the policy states that on discussion items, you can get a consensus from the board to bring back an item for a workshop. Okay, I just want to make sure that was. Okay, thank you so much. I just want to make sure I understood as well what you were asking.
Thank you. Ms. Savietto.
Well, even if we had all the money in the world, I would not implement metal detectors in all the schools. This is my background, right? So that's the wrong perception. When you see something like that and you walk into school with all this metal detectors, you don't think, oh, how safe is this school? You think, why is this school has a metal detector? So we can't really divulge too much about our security. That's why these sessions are in closed workshops. But I would love to see maybe a workshop about all types and levels of security, right? Because I've been pushing for e-bikes, education about to our kids, to the parents. We've had way too many accidents, way too close, where kids have passed away, right, and had accidents because they're riding away in e-bikes and they're bullying or they're playing and they fall, and we know the story. It happened to me 3 weeks ago. The first person I called was Mr. Burke, because I could have been the one, hitting this little boy that fell on Harvard Hill, but he was quickly to get up, and there I was coming, right? And he was way outside the school zone, so it would have been our fault per se, but you can't live with that. So I would love to see a workshop maybe where we can analyze all the types of security and safety levels that we have. I would never go for any more metal detectors at any other schools. Like I said, it's all about perception. I know that we have a lot of levels, and then we don't talk about them too much because we keep them secret. But I mean, we could have a very, another workshop just to talk about all the levels and what we could do moving forward, including campaigns to educate our children, to educate the parents, and when children know, because they will tell you. So Luca, growing up, in elementary and even middle school, I would say, Luca, you know that you're not supposed to, talk to strangers on the phone, or you're not supposed to, talk to anybody online. And at one point he said, no, Mom, I know. I know, because they've been talked about it so much at school that he already knows. But I don't think the schools talk to them too much about how to conduct themselves when they go home and they walk, or they take, they ride their bikes, and now with the e-bikes. So we can be a little stronger in our campaigning to, like I said, educate our parents, educate the kids at start of school, around Christmas. Too much is not enough, right? But definitely, I would never go for metal detectors, even if we had all the money in the world, because we can't put metal detectors in some high schools and not in other schools, and I know that it just would not be right, and that's not the message we're sending. We are an A-rated school. We have great schools with great children. Yes, out of 180,000 kids, we're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 that are not going to be the greatest, unfortunately, and I've seen it right in this past 6 months when we go through all this closed doors, expulsions. But anyways, again, I think we do a great job. Could we do better? Definitely. And we have to include our community to help us, again, drop off when parents are dropping off their kids in the middle of the road. We need the city police. We need more PBSO, whatever. But that's the type of security and safety that I want to do and see, and I'm going to keep talking about it until I see some improvement, especially in the schools that I drive, and I have to deal with it all year round with Luca. Now, let's see how my experience is dropping him off and picking him up at high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Savietto. Just as a point of clarification for you, so you're new to the board, but we do have closed doors, as Ms. Andrews mentioned, sessions that do go through with the chief on our security. We will not be sitting in an open workshop going through security like that. And also, the sheriff's office is working on messaging having to do with e-bikes. You may want to consider, the board may later, when we do our legislative platform, may want to consider a bill to ban them on school property, or to work with the county and work with the sheriff on that, or you could bring back a discussion item on that. I will weigh in just saying that I am in agreement with Vice Chair Andrews And also, Ms. Savietto, I don't feel comfortable right now bringing back a workshop or taking action on more metal detectors. The technology is changing every day. I know I have cameras on my home. Well, my cameras are hardwired and everything else has changed since then. So I think we need to wait, as Ms. Andrews said. I trust the superintendent. He knows that our priority is keeping our schools and our employees as safe as possible. So I'm just not going to add my consensus for a workshop on that at this time. Mr. Ferguson?
Oh, sure.
You're next.
Board Member Andrews didn't say that she wasn't in support of having a workshop as to all safety measures. What I thought I heard you say, Board Member Andrews, and please correct me, is I thought you said, in addition to metal detectors, I'm speaking as if I'm you, I would like to hear about other safety measures that could be utilized. Did I not hear you correctly? Did I hear you incorrectly?
Through me to Ms. Andrews.
Sure. Through you to Ms. Andrews, Madam Chair.
But I'd like to be, it worked through the superintendent and the chief of school police, not here up on this dais with them. Actually, because they do have the knowledge of what's going on. Things have changed. So I don't want to have a workshop up here because there are some things that we are not going to talk about up here. We need to talk about it with our superintendent and our chief. So yeah, I would love to have more information. And I know we need to keep our kids safe. So there's so many avenues out there, not just the metal detectors, but I believe in them because we know that it's a deterrent. But we have a lot of deterrents and we are doing a great job here in Palm Beach County. We're 10th largest, and other districts are doing great things. And this is where the chief has been out there with the Council of Great City Schools, as well as the superintendent, on what's out there. And I don't think we're behind on anything. I think we're ahead of the game here. So I think we have to go back to the source of understanding where we are, what we can do, what we can afford to keep our children safe, and I think we've done a whole lot of great things to keep them safe, and we will continue through their leadership.
So yes, you're in favor of a workshop on safety?
Not here, not up here.
This is not a workshop, man.
Well, we're just
Vice
having
Chair.
a discussion right now. I'm saying when we get this information, I'd like that to be done behind closed doors.
Okay.
Yes, so just to be clear, so are you or are you not in favor of us
Mr.
having
Ferguson,
a workshop?
you cannot address Ms. Andrews directly.
Madam Chair, I like you to, through the chair to Vice Chair Andrews, I'd like to get clarification on whether she is in support of us having a workshop at a date to be determined by the superintendent in regard to possible safety measures to be implemented at every school, elementary, middle, and high school here within our school district of Palm Beach County.
So Ms. Andrews, yes, you can answer.
I keep saying it's not a workshop. I am in favor of a closed-door session with the superintendent and the chief of police to give us an update of where we are as it relates to metal detectors, other techniques out there, as we work to keep our children safe.
All right, so noted. I just want to follow up on something, Board Member Savietto. So most schools, I think, do a good job of letting students know that they're not to bring vape pens to school. But nevertheless, Madam Chair, I'd like to direct the question. I'm sorry, Madam General Counsel, this is a discussion, so why do I need to direct my communication through the chair at this point? This is so that I'm not in violation of sunshine. So this moment, why would I need to, just procedurally, why do I have to direct it through the chair?
Procedurally, in the sections that deal with special rules, it speaks generally to directing questions at board members. And so that particular sections of the special rules isn't just pertaining to motions. It's across the board, right, directing questions directly to board members. It needs to go through the chair.
That's fine. That's not a problem. There were comments made in regard to if we educate, as I heard it, if we educate students and their parents and the community more, then contraband won't come onto our campuses. But I will note that we've been at a number of expulsion hearings where persons have brought vape pens on the campus, and it's my opinion that at all levels of schooling here in Palm Beach County, staff has done an excellent job, in my opinion, of educating people on the fact this is contraband, this is not to be brought on campus, but yet and still we find it. We see so many vape pens in some of the drain traps that the water can't even flow through it. Similarly with tasers, it's been identified that tasers are in fact weapons. This is contraband, but yet and still we find more than one, more than two. We find quite a number that come on the campus. So we can educate all we want, but it would seem to indicate based on past behavior that the community is still going to do things that we've asked them respectfully and educated them against doing. And so just as a matter of safety, I think it is important for us to do this closed session that Vice Chair Andrews just mentioned to really verify, what more can we do? I think the detectors, I've been clear on that, are a great starting point, but I'm not opposed to other safety measures being used, but the fact of the matter is those measures need to be used, and they need to be used like yesterday. Because as I've stated now, we see proof just in this last school year of persons bringing deadly instrumentalities on the campus. And I don't think I know no one here wants a child to be maimed or anyone else to be maimed on our school campus. We do have the means, in spite of the restricted budget that's coming down from DC and Tallahassee. We still have the monies to do these things. It's just a matter of the will to do these things. So, Madam Chair, I know it's getting late, and so so we've had, Madam Chair, we've had 4 board members say yay or nay. As I'm keeping track of it, Madam Chair, you and Board Member Savieto have said that you don't want to have metal detectors, but can I ask you a question to you and then ask you to direct the question to Board Member Savieto? And then also I'm asking you to ask Board Members Branch and Board Member Lane to weigh in. Are you all amenable to us having a closed session? Help me with that, Vice Chair. Closed session on the issue of safety measures at all of our schools.
Okay, so I'm just going to actually call for the consensus on that. Well, actually, Mr. Superintendent, you bring them back periodically, the conversation. So if you're asking for them to move it up, we just had one. So I think at this point, I'm going to ask for consensus. Your question then is not on the metal detectors, but to have consensus for a closed door session, correct?
Yes, and my hope is that we will truly discuss the issue, pros and cons of implementation of metal detectors at our middle school and elementary schools here in Palm Beach County for the reasons that I've stated, and of course many, many more.
So I'm sorry, I was speaking to General Counsel. So we're getting consensus on a closed door session, including the metal detectors, okay, but it'd be closed door, not a workshop.
Yes, and
Okay.
Vice Chair Andrews, thanks for finally saying it and me hearing what you said. I know sometimes I will say, Board, I feel like sometimes we're not as active in our listening as evidenced by me just now. And I'm not afraid to say sometimes where I messed up, I wasn't quite grasping what you said, and I do understand it now. So thank you for continuing to speak to me until I finally heard it. And I think I'll continue to do that as well on a number of issues. But thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I was asking for consensus, but we have some board members who haven't spoken who want to make some comments. So I'll go back to the consensus and go right now to Ms. Branch.
Thank you. I think security is ongoing. We all agree. And I think the chief and the superintendent keep us up to date. It's always changing. I'm certain there'll be in the future more workshops on it. I know as a substitute teacher, as I taught, there were more than one entrance that these little kids came in elementary and K through 8. There were like 3, bus, car, walkers, bikers. So that's 3 entrances in one school. So the cost, like Mrs. Andrews said, but I'm not looking to do a workshop again. I think when Chief Mooney and Mr. Burke say, you know what, we have more updated information, we'll have a closed door session.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield.
Thank you. I was just going to ask, when is our next security session scheduled for? Is it next year?
We typically hold one in October.
Okay.
Before we
So,
submit to
I mean, that
FSAT
sounds like a good time.
or
to me.
FSAT.
Okay, thank you. And I will just say that I'm willing to wait until the superintendent is also ready to schedule it. I see some nodding of heads. Ms. Savieto, did you want to add something?
Well, I thought I was clear, but when I spoke and then Ms. Marcia Andrews spoke, and I just said the same thing, but you corrected me saying that, no, it is closed session, so I knew that, and I don't want a workshop about metal detectors, but an update I mean, if I use the wrong word, but it was an update of what we know, what we're doing in place, what's the new campaign going to be, or what's going to be, that I would be, very in agreement, because I think that's great. But if it's going to be in October, I think that's wonderful. Hopefully they will add other things that we've been speaking about, like the education, bringing parents in to educate on the dropping off and picking up, and the kids walking to school and riding their bikes and their e-bikes. I'm not against e-bikes. I just think that we should have some sort of training on how, or whatever that is. I'm not the professional about it, but I would love to see something like Ms. Marcia Andrews mentioned, the update and all of that. That's wonderful.
So thank you. So that's going to bring us now to our next board discussion, BRD 4, Mr. Ferguson, policy on principal tenure at school sites.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is an interesting discussion item, so I'm kind of laughing at it now. Sometimes they say, when you know better, you do better. So initially, when it occurred to me that we should have this conversation, the goal was ultimately, I'll tell you right now, this is not my goal now, but at the time, the goal was to implement a policy that would direct specific action by the superintendent in situations where school performance does not continue to ascend. So in District 7, I think I know that one. I feel confident saying I know District 7 better than anybody on the dais. If you look at cities like Riviera Beach, the parts of District 7 that fall into West Palm Beach, the parts of West Palm Beach that fall into District 7, you have a very ugly report card. Ugly as I define it, because I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is more often than not, you have a C grade, as in cat. And I kind of first started mentioning this back in 2017, I guess it kind of agitated somebody who is not here now. But my point was, unless you believe that this is the best that community can do, C's just won't do. And so I know that we can't make a specific instruction to the superintendent. And speaking with general counsel, actually, she showed me the policies in the statutes more specifically, like it would be illegal to tell Superintendent Burke, you must remove Edwin Ferguson from school X if the school's grade does not go from a C to a B in 3 years. You legally can't do that. That's fine. So then I started looking at what we can do. And so I was looking at the different, I guess they call evaluation instruments that we use for our superintendent. So that's funny that we were talking about evaluation instruments for Ms. Solnett and Mr. LaFace at Capital. I forgot the name of his company now, but it doesn't matter. You all know who he is. So I remember, I'm looking, and I saw back in FY17, these were the 5, if you will, metrics that were used to evaluate the superintendent. Student achievement. That's important to me because I think everything that we should do should be about student achievement. Board and community relations, human resource management, financial resource management, operations management. Now, I didn't see where anything was actually defined, but I will say the student achievement would seem to be less ambiguous than the other sections. And then in FY18, it changed. And so then the 5 things that we used to evaluate the superintendent were effective and relevant instruction, positive and supportive climate, talent development, high performance culture, board and community relations. And it stayed that way until more recently in FY23, where we now use academic excellence and growth, which I guess is student achievement. I mean, we need to define it, but it's not as obvious to me what academic excellence and growth mean. Student-focused culture, mental health and wellness, committed and impactful employees, and then board and community relations. So board and community relations seem to be the only thing that kind of transcends from year to year. And I would argue that we really should be focused on the student achievement. So since I know that we cannot give directives to the superintendent to take certain actions. What I would like is, and this is directed to you, Madam Chair, actually, to be honest, because I think you determine what the metrics, the evaluative tools of the instrument are, correct? We vote on that as a board, you think?
We do.
Okay. When do we next vote on that? Or when will we next have a discussion on that, Madam Chair?
On what specifically? Whose evaluation? You're losing me in your conversation. I'm sorry.
I guess this goes back to active listening. I said the superintendent evaluation instrument. What I just read off to you are the superintendent evaluation instruments that we've used in FY17, FY18, all the way up through now.
And so I'm going to turn to general counsel, but just so you know, you lost me because I thought you were still somehow involving principals in that conversation. So you just lost me. So
okay,
general counsel, if you could please address
IT,
that.
Where are those subtitles?
I think I can only help in part because I don't have the superintendent's contract in front of me, but I believe the contract outlines the parameters for the evaluative tool when it comes back to the board. So I believe, and I'm really stretching it, kind of going off the top of my head here.
I read the contract. It doesn't necessarily say that I didn't see it, and Superintendent Burke can speak because he knows his contract better than I would imagine. I don't recall seeing in it these five metrics, if you will, and I didn't see in, say, for example, former Superintendent Fenoy and former Superintendent Avosa's contracts, the 5 metrics that I mentioned to you in regard to FY17 and then FY18. So
that would be true. It wouldn't be an attachment to the contract, but if memory serves me, the contract outlines the parameters on when to bring the evaluative tool to the board. And I'm speaking generally because I believe all of the direct reports to the board have similar language to that effect, that you would bring your evaluation to the board if you were contemplating making changes to the evaluative tool, and then upon either myself, I don't want to, IG Inspector General Teresa Michael, and I assume, not having the superintendent's contract up in front of me, that it outlines the parameters on when and how to bring the evaluative tool to the board.
All right.
But not the tool. The tool itself is not attached to the contract.
So to that point, Madam Chair, my concern is the kids at all times. That is the business that we are to be carrying out here. So if we have situations where leadership is unable, for whatever reason, to move students, unless you believe that, again, what I said to you before, if you believe that all the school can ever be is a C, then by all means, business as usual. But I will represent, particularly to the newer board members, and you all will develop your own experience just as I did as you spend more time on the board. I've seen schools in my not so short time now on this board where we've moved a principal out who was not able to kind of move the overall performance of a school. And in less than 2 years, we've seen schools go from D's to B's or C's to A's or whatever the case may be. So it does seem to be an issue of leadership. And seeing as we can't force or direct, would be the better term to use, can't direct Superintendent Burke to remove Edwin Ferguson from School X, I would like to see there be some sort of evaluative instrument in place where we can communicate to Superintendent our support or concern for his ability to move his respective chess pieces around the board. Because everybody may not be good for School X. Board member Branch or Principal Branch may be better than Principal Ferguson at School X. He and his team have to be able to identify that, call a spade, and be focused on the main thing, which is to make sure that these children are moving into a position where they can be critical thinkers and supportive of themselves when they graduate. Because I will represent to you that although this district is now considered an A district, it wasn't an A, we lost the A, got the A back, and got back up here at A district. I can represent to you that in District 7, we most certainly are not an A district. And that's the data. And so if anyone is perturbed by what I say, I'm going to always speak truth in that regard. We need to do more. And there are other pockets in the majority of your districts, I've looked at them, that need to be improved. In fact, I'll give you this little nugget of data. 49 of our 180 or 182, I heard different numbers at the different commencements that I was at. But irrespective of whatever that number is, 49 of our schools have had C ratings for 3 or more years. That's 26 to 27% of our schools that have C ratings. And if you really want to become studious about it, start pulling the layers back and looking at the aptitudes in terms of English language scores, science scores, and math scores, that won't be so cute either. And so persons always talk about what they don't have. Some people always talk about what they don't have, and I have said this before, we really need to be focused on what we do have. And I think we need to have leaders at all these schools that historically have kind of been middling, who speak life into a community. And so, Chair Brill, I'm going to interpret to say, hey, your point is convoluted. Maybe if you're not looking directly into what I look at every day, it is. But if you walk around the streets of District 7, what I'm saying is gospel. The community wants more. And I'm not going to speak for other members' districts, although, like I've said to you before, I represent all districts. But I know for a fact there are pockets in just about everybody's district. Board Member Branch, I was looking at your schools. I didn't see 3 Cs at any school in your district. And I would want all of our districts to be like Board Member Branch's district in that regard. We have children in communities that have the aptitude for that. And so we really, 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 really need to be focused on the main business, which is development of these students, to make sure that they can be entrepreneurs and gainfully employ people in our workforce. And so I appreciate I may be stepping on the toe or two right now, but this is something that maybe needs to be done. Maybe I need to prod in this regard. So this entire time since I've been on this board, I've been trying to figure out how best to navigate these levers. And so I see now I need to just be clear that I don't like mediocrity. I wouldn't want our children to want to emulate mediocrity. I want them to push for a higher mark. And to the extent that we have persons in place who are comfortable with the status quo, Superintendent, I would ask that you and staff identify those people and maybe reposition them, repurpose them, whatever the case may be. But we need to have the optimum person at all of these schools, because every year is the most important year. We can't afford to have bad years. So again, board, I ask you all to look at your own data. Don't just rely on what I'm saying here. But if you do, I'm confident that you will see that we have, in my mind, too many schools that are just kind of going along. And that's no good for us as a district. And this is the reason why I was saying to you all last week, one of the speakers left, micro schools are going to start popping up around and in some of our lower performing parts of this county, like Riviera Beach. That's happening right now. And that whole thing of economies of scale is going to start to manifest in terms of our machine, our company is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, which means our dollars won't go as far as they go now. So just as a matter of self-preservation, you all should want to have the optimum principals at each school. Even if it hurts that particular principal's feelings, that ain't the main thing. The main thing is to educate and affirm and inspire, to make parents and students want to be part of our school district versus a charter school or a private school, home school, or whatever the case may be. So however you all need to get there, I'm just asking you all to kind of look at the data for yourselves, and I'm confident that the greater majority of you will see, hey, we need to do more in that regard. So I just felt, as we're going into our, I guess what effectively is our summer break, let you all know that's something that I've seen now year after year, and I can't sit idly by and just let us continue doing what we're doing. It's the definition of insanity, because it's not working for pockets of our district, and it just happens that the greater majority of District 7 is not working for it. And many of my constituents have had me tell you all this, and so I'm having this conversation with you all in this space.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in first and just say there are a few points that have been brought up. One of the points that I would like to make, first of all, has to do with the principals. By statute, we do not hire the principals. We approve them if someone is recommended and they don't have the qualifications, we can vote against them. But statutorily, the principals report to the superintendent. It's completely under his authority. Second thing, having to do with the superintendent's contract. First of all, the evaluation tool, as I recall, was created back with the prior board. I'm perfectly content with the board, with the evaluation tool, because there's other ways to address some of the issues that you brought up. The tool to the superintendent, when was that approved? Was it back in 2022?
Yes, my contract called for not later than July 1st, 2022, Burke shall submit to the board a model evaluation instrument, and then not later than August 17th, 2022, Burke and the board shall meet to discuss and agree on the instrument to be used for Burke's evaluation. And that's the instrument. I feel like the instrument gives you enough latitude, though, to evaluate me in pretty much all areas.
Thank you. But your comments are not lost on me. I understand where you're going. So my thought was during this, when we will look at the strategic plan, when we have our workshops on academics, there's many factors. It's not just the principal. There's many factors in our schools. It has to do with socioeconomics. It has to do with attracting teachers into our lowest performing schools. It's not one person's responsibility if the school is at a level C. So that's my thought. I'm going to move on to the other board members, but I do think that it's an important discussion, and I do believe that we can have those discussions, but we have to make sure that we address all the factors, and the factors are, it's not the school leadership. There are other factors that we have to consider, and when there is a school leadership problem, the superintendent addresses it. So I'm going to go to Vice Chair Andrews.
And thank you, Mr. Ferguson, for bringing that up. But I was sitting here listening to you, and it's certainly not about the principal per se. I know that we have a superintendent, a deputy chief of schools that visit all of the schools and work with the leadership. So that can be changed, and I think the superintendents can do that, and the deputies that we have here in place. But it's about the individual student. It's never about the grade. Those grades came down from Tallahassee, the state. There's a mechanism as to how they have graded us. We've got our children at different levels. Every child has their own individual need, and we have to kind of levy it back down to where the child is coming from, what their abilities are, and the growth that they have each year is big time to me for great teachers that we have here in Palm Beach County School District, as well as the principals. All of those components are together, not just looking at because it's an A-rated school. I mean, I have urban as well as rural, and in the grades, at one while we had a lot of low grades. We have moved up because we are improving, and we've got to look at improvement. We've got to get our parental involvement more robust, because it has to start at home. I was happy when Deputy Superintendent Tierney put the kindergarten roundup in place, because we are going to get better because we're starting early. A lot of parents don't even have those particular components in their lives to get their children ready at those early ages. And when we get them in and they haven't done the things that they need, it's a constant drive to kind of catch them up. It's harder to catch children up when they're already behind. So when we start talking about a grade, I don't look at a grade that much. I look at the leadership, because I do know what mediocrity looks like. I've been here. I was trained under Dr. Johnson and Mr. Mills, and I was a teacher, so I know what it looks like to have great leaders, and that's why we have Superintendent Burke and the deputies and the chiefs here to make sure that we have the great leaders. But we have to kind of look back at the communities, the parents, the programs, the curriculum. This is why we have monies to put programs in place to help try to bring these children up. But the early preschool that you hear us talking about over and over with the legislature, if they don't get this money in place to help us help these little ones before they get to the point where they can't read by third grade and we're trying to bring them up, this is what happens. And we've been in real bad situations in the past where we weren't even at a C level, Mr. Ferguson. I think the reason we're an A-rated school is because we're continually showing growth. Our district is continually showing growth in Riviera Beach, Belglade, Lake Worth, and all of the pockets, because we do have pockets of poverty in Palm Beach County, and it takes all of us working together. And certainly, I don't want to penalize a principal who's struggling to move the students, to get them to where they want to be. And I think we have to continue to look at what each one of our leaders are doing. But I surely don't want to highlight them as the only reason that a child is not moving. I want to look at the data, the curriculum, the teachers, and all the things that Ms. Brill has spoken about tonight, that's the big deal when we start talking about what we're going to do. And if you're thinking about changing a leader, all of those components need to be in place. And we need to give a check out for all of our leaders, our principals, assistant principals, and everybody else, our teachers that are doing their very best overtime to help bring our children together. So I want to say one more thing. When we put a discussion item on, and you know I love you, Mr. Ferguson, but I like to stay to the point because we kind of veered all out to the superintendent's evaluation and how we're going to change this and that. When I look at the board agenda, I want to do the discussion item that you have, because I do a little research to try to figure out, well, what are you talking about? Because we don't know until we get in here. But I do know when you talk about a C, I want to look deeper than that. I look at the individual children, where they're coming from, the programs we have in place, the leaders there, the teachers, and we put it all together to help make us grow. And when we start with the C, hopefully we're going to be at an A soon, and I've seen that happen.
General Counsel?
Sure. I just wanted to address that to help for clarification. So yes, the discussion items are designed to help the board in preparation and understanding what the discussion will be. Because it is your individual discussion item, there is a little bit of latitude to develop it, but you do need to tie it back in and weave it back to the discussion item. So yes, there is some latitude to bring in some other factors, because naturally things can develop in discussion. But yes, to your point, Ms. Andrews, you do have to bring it back to the original item so that everybody knows what's being discussed.
And just for the board to know, that was why I was speaking to General Counsel to ask if we needed to veer it back in the last item just to the specific item of metal detectors. So there is some ability to add in other factors. My iPad just went totally out. I believe, here it came back. So I believe Ms. Whitfield, you're
Thank you
next.
so much. I appreciate it. I just wanted to address this a little bit because I feel like, that we're talking about a lot of the same schools in my area as well as yours. So every school, obviously, we want them all to be an A. But I think that the A is a measure of what a school is. It is not the measure of what a school is. And so I sent my child, who I gotta say is freaking brilliant. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met. She went to C schools from kindergarten to 8th grade. It had nothing to do with the grade. The school was incredible. We had amazing principals, amazing teachers that I would say when you are working in a Title I school are working twice as hard because they have to deal with all of these other issues that students are coming in with and all these other challenges. So these teachers are amazing teachers. These principals that take on these challenging schools are brave, they're heroes. And to go in there and turn these schools around and try to make a school be an A school, sometimes a C is a win. So I just don't want us to sit here and talk about mediocrity when it comes to our schools when we have people that are rising to the challenge and really becoming really being there for our students on so many levels. I think that Ms. Andrews mentioned about parental involvement. I think there's a big piece about developing community within schools that make a school a great school. So if a school is reflective of their community and there for their families and children, I say they're a great school. And so that is, it's something I've really thought about for these 10 years I've been on the board. What makes a great school? And the letter grade is not it. And so I don't want to change. And I also really don't want to micromanage the superintendent or staff when it comes to who's hired to be a principal or staff at a school. I think that is something that we pay these people to do and they do a great job at it. I think our policies need to remain on the high level and ask them to implement it. If you want to work on changing his evaluation, obviously there's a time for that. He will be evaluated this year on the evaluation he has had to work with for the entire year. We would change it for next year. So that is something that we can work on when the time is right. But I want to be real careful when we talk about what is a good school, because I am ferociously proud of these schools and the work that they do with our students. Thank you.
Ms. Branch?
I just wanted to say before the staff falls asleep, We're trying to hurry. I agree with Chair Brill, Vice Chair Andrews, and Board Member Whitfield.
Okay, so I believe it looks like, Mr. Ferguson, you wanted to say something else, or do you realize that there's no consensus on that?
Well, it's still a board discussion. And hopefully y'all don't fall asleep, but if you do, I'm not really speaking to you anyway, so feel free to nod off. Yeah, obviously, there are many factors that go into a school's performance as far as that goes. To that point, when I said, so what I said was very nuanced. So I see now that sometimes I sound like, apparently I sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. Ed probably got that one. So maybe there needs to be a greater focus as well on our various superintendents as well, as far as instructional, regional, and what have you. But the ultimate thing that the community sees oftentimes is the principal in terms of that. And I have heard what was said, I understand what was said, and I agree that the C is not everything and that there's much more nuance to it. But I will also tell you that many people who are not as informed on the 7 buckets, I believe it's 7, I got 7 buckets in my head, 7 different things that factor into, I think, at the high school level, and I may be wrong with that, but I know there are many factors that go into the ultimate letter grade that a school gets. But perception is a reality. And so, again, I don't come here with ideas that I make up myself. I listen, I travel inside of my district and some of yours as well, and I start to hear sentiment and consent in that regard, and this is an issue. People perceive C's and definitely D's. I don't know how many great D schools there are, at least in that given year. Something generally is off in that regard. But many people who I've spoken to perceive schools that make C ratings as not being optimal schools. And we have an inordinate amount relative to some of the other districts of those type of schools, and specifically schools that make C, C, C. And right now with what's happening in Tallahassee with the expansion of the voucher program, this is something that is germane to whether a principal should stay at a given school. We can't afford to string a bunch of C's together. You all know that there's statutorily a mandate to kind of have additional oversight at the state level if you have a school that makes 2 D's in a row. You all know that. I'm sure you all do. You all read more than me, I guess. But in any event, I'm just trying to be proactive in that regard. And so, yeah, I'm putting it out there that I want to see more oversight by the superintendent and his staff. And the majority of you that I've met, I find that you all are exceptional. But we have to keep the main thing, which is optimizing each child. It's not about socioeconomics, because I remember Roosevelt High School being comprised of predominantly impoverished people. And these people are leaders of the industry now. So it's not necessarily about where you start, it's where you finish. And so that, if you will, implicit bias, we need to call ourselves into account on that and not say, okay, affluent schools, we expect you to be, affluent students, we expect you to be top of the class. Impoverished students, do the best you can, kid. We understand you got a lot of things that hold you down. We have to be better than that. Again, we have to model the behavior that we want in these students. And so this is relevant to the issue of principal tenureship and things of that nature. Again, what I said to you all in the beginning, as Charlie Brown's teacher, is that I understand that we can't put a policy in place legally. But it did get me to thinking, after conversing with Superintendent Burke and General Counsel Bernard, that we do need to be much more proactive in our assessment of each leader. There are people who can take that same set of facts, and as a matter of fact, in July, I am going to show you as such. School that was failing, making D's, taken over by the state. In 1 year, the principal pushes it up. How does that happen? The parents were not necessarily in any different state financially, but these principals' leadership got them to be more engaged, got the students to believe in themselves, and then the school performs better. We need to be making sure that Superintendent Burke, you and your team are doing that in all 180 or 182 schools. I know that a greater majority of them are doing great things, but again, I'm speaking to my reality. When I peruse through District 7, I see too many schools where we have CCC, and when you pull it back, because I agree with Board Member Whitfield wholeheartedly, it's not just about the letter grade, but when I look at the aptitude, I don't see that really growing by 2 and 3 points a year. That's problematic. And when I speak to certain people at the school, it seems there is a little bit of a bias that I think could hopefully be eradicated by different leadership. It's all about the culture a lot of times. And so, to me, this is germane, and this is the only reason I'm going on this far. Attorney Bernard, General Counsel Bernard, you've done a good job in educating me over these 3 years in that regard. I think it is germane to this issue of policy on principal tenureship at school sites. And so, again, I'm going to do this more and more often because I know I can't speak to you all on these issues save for here. So if we have to be here longer, then we have to be here longer. And by all means, staff, feel free to go to sleep. If my voice is so smooth and mellow that you fall asleep, which I don't think it is, just don't snore too loud. But for you 7 or 6 up here, we have to do the work of the district. And I think, again, this is something that we really need to look at. I know I'm stepping on toes, but hey, I got big feet. But we need to do what we need to do for these kids. And that's what I wanted to impress upon you all. So over this next 30, 45 days, however many days it is, take a look at your own district's respective data and see if what I say is true or false. I'm pretty confident that the greater majority of you, again, I don't think Board Member Branch has many schools, any schools that fall into this particular area that has me all up in a tizzy, but most of you do. And we need to be figuring out policies and initiatives to help increase and improve, sustain excellence throughout these schools in our district. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have one more person that wants to speak, Ms. Branch, and after that, we're going to move on.
I do have diversity in my schools. Thank you.
Okay, so that's going to bring us to Mr. Superintendent.
Just for the record, I'd like to report the entire senior staff is wide awake and they would never fall asleep and they're hanging on every word. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Ferguson, we're done with this item.
Point of information. There's no rule that prohibits how long we can go for
I
this.
just spoke to the general counsel and we can end the conversation. We're not getting anywhere with it. So you can keep speaking, but nobody's is responding to it.
Madam Chair, I'd like to direct the response to the superintendent through you. So Board Member Branch, Board Member Branch represented that staff was falling asleep. So I was simply making a joke saying if you want to fall asleep, then by all means fall asleep, because the people who need to hear it are the people up here. So that's what the conversation was, Madam Chair. So just to make sure, again, back to the active listening thing, I think it's important that we all listen as actively as we can, lest we do things or say things that we need not say, because I was not taking a rib or anything at anybody that's out there. And I can clearly see that all 12, 13, 14 of them are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they always are at our meetings.
Yeah, they're not on camera, so I thought that might be good for the audience at home not to get the wrong impression. And also, they cannot accept a directive to go to sleep from a board member. It's direct staff.
I'm being cognizant that they've been here since very early in the morning.
Okay, so we're going to move on. I think everybody's getting a little bit punchy. It's going to bring us to BD5, Mr. Lane, Career and Technical Education Programming.
Yes, I placed this item on the agenda, and this is why. Based upon historical data, 40% of our students are not going to college, and they need to find jobs when they graduate. At the same time, there's a severe shortage of workers in the trades because workers in the trades are aging out. Now, I've spoken to many, many business leaders in our community about this issue. And one business owner told me a story. He needed 150 employees to finish a project, but he only could recruit around 85. He had a deadline to finish the project, and he didn't have enough skilled workers to do so. And this is a standard problem in the industry. And by the way, these are very high-paying jobs. The highest paid crane operators earn upwards of $100,000 a year. Now, we have excellent career and technical education programs in our district. And the business community would like us to focus on enhancing these career and technical education programs. Now, from my research, one of the biggest complaints that I found was that when students across the country graduate, they've only taken 1 or 2 courses in the trades, so they don't possess the skills that they need to immediately go to work. Now, my vision is that our students who are not going to college leave with the skills that they need to become immediately employable when they graduate. My goal is to create an internal pipeline for our local skilled workers, for the businesses in our community, and to create a pipeline for our students who might not otherwise have jobs to change the trajectory of their lives. Our Education Foundation generously sponsored a comprehensive study of our career and technical education program. And it's my proposal that we hold a series of workshops to study the Education Foundation's report and to determine how we can become a district of future-ready schools where all of our students graduate with career readiness skills. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So my understanding is that, and I actually have a printout of that report. I think you've got all of us on board with that. The superintendent is going to get back with the succinct points from this, and I believe we will have sometime a workshop coming up on the career programs also. So I don't know that we need I think I would leave it to the superintendent for how to progress with that. But Mr. Superintendent?
It aligns with our strategic plan. We have an initiative to grow our career technical education programs and the career pathways. So with the benefit of this report, as you said, Board Member Lane, it was generously sponsored by the Ed Foundation. That is our plan. We're kind of going through the recommendations and findings now. And then what I want to do is distill that down and bring back staff and the superintendent's recommendation on how we move forward from here. So that'll be in the months ahead.
Madam Chair, I would just ask the superintendent, by when do you think we can hold our first workshop on this subject?
I would say this fall, first semester.
September, October or so. Great.
Yeah, I mean.
Is that the consensus of the board that we have a workshop on this topic?
Absolutely. I think you're preaching to the choir here, but I am going to call on Ms. Savalleto. She would like to speak.
Yeah, I definitely like this topic. I've been talking about it since I've been here because I know that the community needs it. And I also actually invited the board, what was it, last month, to visit, the Chuck Shaw Education Center. They do amazing work under Dr. Willa Thomas. You'd be surprised. I was there for 2 hours and I didn't want to leave. So, Board Member Lane, you would love the experience. I would invite you to visit Chuck Shaw, talk to Fred Barch. They do amazing work, of course, that we can do probably a lot more. And I'm excited, to talk about it and, to be a support, bring business people that can help, tell us what they need. I mean, all that is just amazing. So I'm excited, and anything we can do to support, the school district, I'm for it. Thank you.
Board members, I'm going to call on the other two that have put their names out there. And just to remind you, we do have some non-agenda speakers that are still hanging in to speak tonight. So with that, I'll go to Vice Chair Andrews.
Wow, Mr. Lane, I knew there was something special that I loved about you. This topic is a big deal. And I have to commend the superintendent and the team. We've come a long way. Back in the day, we really had some heavy-duty technical schools, and we closed them all down. So we have really come back. Mr. Ferguson, your Delray Full Service Center is awesome. If you haven't been there to see it, get out there to see it. I mean, North Tech is going to be rebuilt. I mean, lots of good things are happening. Every child that crosses the stage for graduation should have a skill set. And that's what they do at Inlet Grove. I always go over there and I listen to their graduations and I speak with Dr. Banks, and every kid that's graduating, there's a path for them. And so we're trying to get back there. We were behind. Thank you, Fred Barch. West Tech, we opened it up. It was closed for 11 years. So we're getting things done. And I'm so proud of our superintendent because he's on it and we're on it. And we've been to the state, and the state's giving us the money because we know that we've got to get these children trained. We know in the middle school who it is that needs to get into these programs. I think everybody should get a skill set, but for sure there's some kids that we need to identify early as possible to get them something that they'd like to do, that they can actually leave Palm Beach County School District knowing that they have a great career. It's a great day for what you're talking about.
Ms. Branch?
I agree. Recently, I introduced Fred Bartz to a large nonprofit that raises money for scholarships, and they want to raise money and donate to hopefully our school district, which was the point of the meeting, to pay for these kids that after high school, if they can't, they can go to technical training and they get a scholarship, and it would be fantastic. So I'm really happy about that.
Okay, Ms. Savalletto.
Yes, I wanted to invite Mr. Lane next year for adult education graduation. It was very touching. We shook hands of kids, right? They looked like super young, maybe 19, 18, to the elderly that could have been our parents, and it was so emotional, right? The resiliency, that's why I mentioned it last board meeting and this board meeting, because you saw people of all ages. Some of them would come and say gracias, in Spanish, and it was so sweet, and in all different walks of life, people from everywhere, right? I mean, that was so emotional. So please, Mr. Lane, you would love that graduation next year because it's very special, and then you get to see the whole team that works behind the scenes, or not behind the scenes, but they work with the adults there, so you would really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Savalletto. So that's now going to bring us back to our non-agenda speakers, and we thank you for your patience in indulging us. I'll call you two at a time, Julie Potel and Jenna Rembaum.
I'm just going to do this. I know we're all really, my name is Jenna Rembaum. Hi. I know we're all really tired, so thank you, genuinely, and I hope you'll give me your ears for just 3 minutes. I know we all want the best for the students. We're all working from the same place, even though we're not always in the same time and place. I appreciate that, and I want to say that. So I'd like to set the stage a little bit. I'm talking on the DEI, of course, which I know you've heard at length. So again, thank you. The stage is, it's 9 p.m. last week, and I'm looking on the CDC's website for information to present to you all. I've collected the reports from 2023 when the CDC found that 1 in 4 high school students identifies as LGBTQ+ in the United States. I go to open that page yet again, and I'm greeted with a new little yellow box. Per a court order, HHS is required to restore this website as of 11:59 p.m. ET, February 11th, 2025. Any information on this page promoting gender ideology is extremely inaccurate and disconnected from the immutable biological reality that there are 2 sexes, male and female. The Trump administration rejects gender ideology and condemns the harm it causes to children by promoting chemical and surgical mutilation. And now, putting aside anyone's feelings on gender and sexuality, sitting in my bed last week, I cried. Mutilation, I thought. Imagine for the first time in your life that you could look in a mirror and truly think that you were beautiful. Imagine that. And then imagine you look and your government is calling you mutilated. In 2024, the Trevor Project found that 37% of LGBTQ+ youth in the state of Florida have seriously considered committing suicide. Take that statistic out of your head for a moment. Taking that information we have about the CDC and 1 in 4 students, let's take the population of Spanish River. That's 2,345 students approximately. 1/4 of that, 586 students. Let's take 37% of that. That's 223 students. 223 students that could have seriously considered committing suicide last year at Spanish River. This county has approximately 30 high schools for high school age students, 35 if you use the board's own website. At a conservative estimate, that's about 7,805 students that may have seriously considered killing themselves last year. So this is why we need this pro-diversity policy, that we need to openly protect these students. I know the changes are minor, but they mean something to these kids. And they say that we're beyond this. Because even if we feel this way, there's 7,805 children in this county that don't. And it's not me that you need to convince that diversity matters and that you care, it's them. And they deserve that. So I thank you for your time and for listening. I know that it's been a really long night and we're almost there. I know, we're gonna get there. Have a good night, thank you.
Thank you. Diane Schneider and Kenna Brown. Are either of you here?
Ms. Brown left.
I'm sorry? Okay, thank you. Kendra Spence Wester. Okay, Ira Thomas Bush the fourth. That's the end of our non-agenda speakers. So I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Branch, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Tierney, you're going to be so thankful that you're going to be down in Monroe. Take me along.